Chapter 686. After defeating the first and second lives, Xiao Han was already very used to the tempering of the purple trial world. This was the process of cultivating the Saber Dao. He gathered the power of refinement and slowly opened the jade token in his dantian. This caused the most precious Saber Dao of immortal Emperor Ju Dao to be thoroughly understood by Xiao Han bit by bit. As a result, Xiao Han devoted himself to the training and learning. He completely threw the treasures on the third floor out of his mind, completely forgetting about them. To Xiao Han, being able to cultivate the 100 moves of the 100 Lives Saber Dao was much more beneficial than obtaining a magical item. Moreover, learning the 100 moves meant that Xiao Han would be able to control 100 slaves. 100 slaves with battle prowess comparable to mid-tier immortal emperors. This was a priceless treasure. Xiao Han entered the third sealed arena. The one guarding the third arena was 3 worlds, who had mastered the third move of the 100 World Saber Dao. It was a middle-aged man with a tail behind him. In the confrontation with the third era, after dying 321 times, Xiao Han finally mastered the third move of the 100 Lives Blade Dao. Furthermore, he surpassed his predecessor and killed the third era with this move. After that, Xiao Han naturally obtained the power of refinement, as well as the powerful slave of his third life. Continue forward. Orange Trial World. After half a month of hunting and killing, Jia Lanzi and the other 2 immortals had finally killed all of the 1000 level 2-dimensional creatures in the Orange Trial World, metallic lifeforms. Then he ascended to the third world, the Yellow Trial World. Jia Lanzi and the 2 immortals each absorbed an enormous amount of refinement power. It attacked the magic treasures stored in the dantian. When they entered the Yellow Trial World, Jia Lanzi and the other 2 immortals, all of them had completely refined and controlled close to 1000 immortal artifacts and treasures. Who, regardless of whether I succeed or fail, after I return to the immortal realm, I'll definitely be able to find a way out. Handing over the celestial artifact to the sect would definitely be a great merit. It could completely revitalize the sect. However, I can't relax. I have to continue taking risks. I will strive to make a name for myself in the Yellow Trial World or even the Green Trial World. If I can obtain one of the 4 greatest magic treasures, I will be able to do so. It's enough to shake the entire immortal world. It was dazzling. Yellow Trial World. The 2 immortals who had entered the Yellow Trial World long ago had turned from hunters to prey in the face of a creature from a different dimension whose strength was comparable to a level 4 true immortal. They were being chased. The battle was extremely intense. The 2 immortals were unable to effectively attack the desert creatures with their own immortal arts, so they could only rely on their immortal artifacts. Speed attribute immortal artifact and defense attribute immortal artifact to preserve his life. Then he would use attack attribute immortal artifact to fight. However, although the celestial artifact was powerful, with their celestial force, they were unable to perfectly display the power of the celestial artifact. The higher the quality of the celestial artifact, the greater the consumption on the body. These 2 immortals. After holding on for so long, he was already at the end of his rope. Even what he carried on his body. The elixirs to replenish the lost immortal force had all been used up. Kill. Rip adventurers apart. Kill. Amidst the rolling yellow sands, the densely packed desert life surged like a tide. He chased after the 2 immortals. By now, the 2 immortals who had entered the Yellow Trial World had met. They frantically ran for their lives. Yes, run for your life. That was because there were thousands of desert life forms chasing after them. They did not dare to fight at all. If the thousands of desert life forms caught up to them, they would be blasted into powder. Not even dregs would be left. The 2 immortals activated immortal dew artifacts that were similar to the divine movement boots that Xiao Han controlled and sped away. Brother, run. One of the immortals shouted bitterly and in a panic. Damn it. These desert life forms are in groups. It's difficult to deal with them. After so many days, our celestial force is almost depleted. If our celestial force is full, we can still activate the offensive immortal artifact and charge back. But now, charge back? We activated this immortal dew artifact to escape, and the little celestial force in our bodies is also being consumed. If this continues, our speed will become slower and slower. Sooner or later, we will be surrounded by those dirty desert life forms and killed. At that moment, the data above the 2 immortals' heads was displayed. One had hunted 1,487 desert life forms. The other had hunted 1,522 desert life forms. That was already the limit of what they could do. Even so, there was still a long way to go before he could ascend to the Green Trial World, where he needed to kill 100 desert creatures. We can't enter the green trial world to obtain the ultimate treasure. Finally, the two immortals realized the crux of the problem. The situation now is very unfavorable for us. Looks like we can only teleport out and end the trial adventure. The Cosmos Pouch, the Arch Slayer, the Exquisite Pagoda, the Sky Fiend Clone. Those 4 top-notch ultimate treasures that could shake the entire immortal realm. We know where they are, but we can't get them, damn it. I can't accept this. One of the immortals roared. At that moment, the immortal light of the dual-type combat boots on their feet gradually dimmed. Their energy consumption was almost depleted. Their pursuers and desert life forms were getting closer and closer. What other ultimate treasures do we need? Staying alive is more important. The other immortal roared in exasperation. Now, it seems that those 4 treasures are not something we can covet. It's too difficult. We can't make it through the yellow trial world at all. Even if we did, we would have to kill an even more powerful alternate dimension life form to obtain the last of the 4 treasures. Freak. Immortal Emperor Judao never thought of letting us get those treasures, did he? Forget it, retreat. It's not too late to retreat now. Moreover, we'll definitely make a profit. We might not have the chance to lay our hands on the 4 ultimate treasures, but the repeated hunting of the alternate dimension life forms has allowed us to obtain too much refinement power, refining and controlling the thousands of mystic treasures in our Dantian. These mystic treasures are actually of very good quality. Bringing them back to the immortal realm is also a great fortune. That's right, brother. You're right, we're actually returning with a full load, so we won't be greedy. Otherwise we'll be buried in there. Let's go. The two immortals communicated with Immortal Emperor Judao's will with their divine thoughts, requesting to end the trial and leave immediately. Soon, the two immortals disappeared from the yellow trial world, completely teleported out and ending the adventure. Just like that, 2 of the 6 adventurers who entered the 3rd level of Immortal Emperor Judao's treasure trove had already left. Completely exited. Soon after, Jialanzi and the other 2 immortals ascended from the orange trial world to the yellow trial world. They also faced the extremely difficult desert life forms. A thrilling war of attrition began. Jialanzi could still use his own immortal technique power and immortal treasures to hunt the desert life forms. The other 2 immortals could only rely on immortal treasures to fight. They could only rely on their immortal weapons to fight. Of course, their consumption of immortal force was huge every day. Every day they had to consume large amounts of elixirs to replenish their immortal power. 10 days later, the 2 immortals were doing their best. After exhausting all their energy and killing thousands of desert life forms. Finally, they could not take it anymore and chose to leave the trial. Of course. They returned with a full load, controlling thousands of mystic treasures. It was a worthwhile trip. Now, only Jialanzi and Xiaohan were left in the 3rd level of Immortal Emperor Judao's treasure trove. Another 10 days later. Heaven-destroying demons subduing Pestle. Close to 10,000 desert life forms surrounded Jialanzi. Jialanzi burned all the immortal power in his body to the limit, striking out a mystic treasure with terrifying attack power that was enough to tear the earth apart. At the same time, Jialanzi waved his hands continuously, striking out a series of subtle and profound immortal techniques. Bang, 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 bang. These desert life forms were sent flying and shattered, dying without a burial place. The power of refinement surged like a tide, washing into Jialanzi's body. At the same time, the numbers above Jialanzi's head also skyrocketed. Finally, 1010 it's done. Jialanzi's face was pale, and there was a deep sense of exhaustion on his face. It was as if he was a lamp that had run out of oil. Under the blazing dazzling light, Jialanzi's body slowly flew into the green trial space. However, now Jialanzi was on the verge of collapse. Look, I was really lucky to be able to kill 1,000 desert life forms. Desert life forms comparable to level 4 true immortals also consumed a lot of my energy. I'm completely exhausted. Then in the next green trial space. I'm afraid, green trial space. Primeval forest. An endless primeval forest. Jialanzi walked in the forest on the muddy road, his mind tense. His immortal sense spread out, his eyes and ears listening in all directions, monitoring the situation. 2 offensive immortal weapons and an immortal talisman were tightly held in Jialanzi's hands. Now Jialanzi did not dare to be careless. On one hand, his immortal power had been consumed too much in the yellow trial space. Even if he recovered now, he would not be able to return to his peak state in a short period of time. On the other hand, in this green trial space, Jialanzi felt an extremely uneasy, even ominous feeling. This feeling made Jiao Lanzi's hair stand on end. At this moment, roar! Within the range of Jiao Lanzi's immortal sense, a violent, thunderous roar of a beast came through the air. Puff, puff, puff. The sound wave spread out like a ripple, and everywhere it went, countless towering ancient trees were uprooted from the ground. Then they were quickly crushed into powder. So fierce. Jiao Lanzi's mind was focused, and in an instant he felt the danger. Whoosh! Jiao Lanzi rose into the air, and the next moment, a furry, gorilla-like monster appeared in front of him. This monster was covered in golden fur, and the aura it exuded was extremely powerful, as deep as the sea. Even the air that this gorilla-like monster spat out condensed into the shape of a dragon, abnormally powerful. What? Combat power comparable to a level 5 perfected immortal. Jiao Lanzi was completely shocked. He did not expect that this trial would be more and more exaggerated, more and more ridiculous. Although Jiao Lanzi was a genius, he was still a level 2 perfected immortal. However, in the end he was only a level 2 true immortal. In the face of a level 5 true immortal creature from a different dimension he could not do anything. But in the end he was still a level 2 perfected immortal. Die. The gorilla-like monster spat out human language, its sharp claws as sharp as knives. It clawed at Jiao Lanzi. In an instant the space was cut open like tofu as fast as lightning. In the time it clawed, a dragon and tiger accompanied each other, and the air in the area was sucked dry. Evil creature. Scram. Jiao Lanzi used an immortal movement technique that was close to teleportation, dodging it, and retaliated with an immortal artifact. Just like that, Jiao Lanzi and the gorilla-like monster began to fight. It was almost impossible to tell who would win. The fight lasted for hundreds of breaths. Jiao Lanzi relied on his large number of immortal artifacts to kill this gorilla-like monster. Hoo! Jiao Lanzi bent down and panted heavily. That was close, too close. I was almost cut open by this evil creature a few times just now. Although killing such a gorilla-like monster would give me a considerable amount of power of refinement, if I had encountered a few more gorilla-like monsters, I would have been unable to resist. Jiao Lanzi knew this as well. He was so close to obtaining that supreme treasure, the Heavenly Demon Clan's avatar, but it was actually so far away. Forget it. Since I've already come to this green trial world, I have to give it a try no matter what. Jiao Lanzi's eyes flashed with extreme determination. Without batting an eyelid, he burned an immortal talisman to conceal his aura. Then he disappeared into the dense forest. Just like that, Jiao Lanzi was almost nocturnal. While recuperating, he waited for an opportunity to assassinate the extra-dimensional creatures in this green trial world that were comparable to level 5 true immortals. Jiao Lanzi had a few immortal artifacts that were extremely good at concealment, and he had also refined and mastered some elixirs that could strengthen one's foundation and recover immortal energy. He never fought head-on with the gorilla-like monsters, choosing instead to ambush, assassinate, and stalk. Half a month later, Jiao Lanzi had already killed many gorilla-like monsters, reaching a total of 329. The power of refinement that erupted from each gorilla-like monster was almost enough to break open an immortal artifact. However, in this half a month of hunting, Jiao Lanzi had a few close brushes with death and was surrounded by danger. Another half a month passed, Jiao Lanzi had ambushed and killed a total of 1,334 gorilla-like monsters. Another half a month passed. The total number of gorilla-like monsters killed had reached 3,986. This also caused the total number of immortal artifacts and treasures in Jiao Lanzi's Dantian to reach nearly 10,000. There were about 60,000 immortal artifacts and treasures in Jiao Lanzi's Dantian. Now he had refined and mastered almost 1/6 of them. The harvest was extremely huge. However, in the following hunts, the gorilla-like monsters seemed to have learned their lesson. They always traveled in groups of 3 to 5, rarely alone. Now Jiao Lanzi was quite experienced in hunting. With his treasures he could at most fight against 2 to 3 gorilla-like monsters. If there were more than 3 he would definitely not be able to defeat them and he might even be killed in an instant. Now that the gorilla-like monsters were traveling in groups, it was extremely difficult for Jiao Lanzi to make a move. Jiao Lanzi began to endure. He observed in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Just like that, an entire month passed. In this month, Jiao Lanzi only found 2 opportunities to kill 5 gorilla-like monsters, and then there were no more gains. In the following time, the gorilla-like monsters began to gather like a tide, searching frantically in this green trial space, wanting to kill Jiao Lanzi. Jiao Lanzi began to hide everywhere, it was as if he was fleeing. There were a few times when he was almost discovered. After avoiding the encirclement of a gorilla-like monster team for the last time, Jiao Lanzi finally made up his mind. Retreat. I, Jiao Lanzi, am also judging the situation. If this continues, not only will I not be able to obtain the treasures, but I will also definitely be killed in this green trial space. Jiao Lanzi had made up his mind. Then Jiao Lanzi directly used his thoughts to communicate with Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's divine will, and directly left. Just as Jiao Lanzi was about to leave, he looked up at the sky and muttered to himself, "Brother Shao, I wonder how your trial is going. The purple trial world is extremely dangerous, but you're talented, so I hope you'll be able to reap great rewards." Just like that, Jiao Lanzi left the trial. At this point, of the 6 people who entered Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove, 5 immortals had already retreated, leaving only Xiao Han. Moreover, the 4 most precious treasures of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's life were all sealed and preserved in the 3rd level. To be continued. Chapter 687. The adventure of the 3rd level of Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure trove lasted for several months. Finally, out of the 6 people who entered, other than Xiao Han who was immortal, the other 5 immortals were all teleported out. The adventure was over. Moreover, once they left, it meant that they could no longer enter Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. On a floating platform outside the huge planet, 4 immortals stood on the platform. Now they were all talking to each other. "Everyone, I didn't expect that none of us could enter the 4th world, the green trial world. Sai, the 4 most precious magic treasures of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's life, the one with the lowest quality, are all in the green trial world. Sai, we can't touch it, it's too difficult. All of us came out from the yellow trial world. Not to mention the green trial world, even the desert creatures in the yellow trial world are hard to deal with. Isn't that right? Those level 3 alien space creatures, the desert creatures, their individual combat strength is equivalent to a level 4 true immortal. Moreover, they always come at us like a swarm of bees. We can't kill them even with immortal treasures and magic treasures. Fortunately, we didn't end up with nothing this time. At least, we controlled a lot of immortal treasures and magic treasures in our bodies." That's true. But it's a pity. Which one of us doesn't have tens of thousands of treasures in our dantian? But in the end, we only have a few thousand of them in our hands. The others, once we come out, disappear without a trace. It's like a dreamy bubble. Speaking of this, the immortals sighed. All right. Don't think about these unlucky things. Let's talk about the harvest. One immortal shouted. All right. Don't think about these unlucky things. Now, I have control over 3,459 magic treasures. Among them, there are close to 1,000 of very good quality. After I go back, I'll give up most of the magic treasures and keep a small portion for myself. My future is absolutely limitless. Yes, I have control over 3,986 magic treasures. Some of them are offensive magic treasures. If they are given to our sect elders, they can kill level 8 and level 9 true immortals. Now, if I go back and hand over the magic treasures, the sect will fulfill its promise to nurture me and make me the chief disciple of the sect. I have refined and controlled 3,598 magic treasures. I've refined and controlled 3,289 magic treasures. Oh, looks like everyone's harvest is about the same. The immortals chuckled. One of the immortals frowned. All right. Now, only Jiao Lanzi and Xiao Han are left on the 3rd floor. Do they have any chance of obtaining those treasures? The 4 of them fell silent. Actually, subconsciously. They didn't get the best treasures and they didn't want others to get them. This Xiao Han, that little mortal brat, although he has many secrets, you have to know that Xiao Han was transported to a purple trial world. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao also said that there were 100 level 7-dimensional creatures in the purple trial world. Each of these level 7-dimensional creatures was equivalent to a mid-level immortal emperor. Immortal emperor? That's the pinnacle of existence in this world. In our immortal world, every single immortal emperor that exists today is a Leviathan who rules over the boundless territory of the immortal world in countless sections. There are only a few hundred immortal emperors in the immortal world right now. Mid-level immortal emperors are even rarer. Xiao Han didn't even need to fight a mid-level immortal emperor to face off against a creature from an alternate dimension. Just a glance was enough to shatter him. Xiao Han was so insistent on getting the purple key. If he had only gotten the red or orange keys, he might have been able to gain some refining power and control a few more magic treasures. Now that he's in the purple trial, he's done for. Let's not talk about Xiao Han for now. What about Jiao Lanzi? Jiao Lanzi. He got the red key and entered the red trial space. His path is the same as ours. According to Jiao Lanzi's ability, he might be one step ahead of us and enter the green trial space. Kill 10,000 creatures from another dimension and obtain a treasure. It's a heavenly demon clone. There's a heavenly demon clone in the green trial space. After refining, he can nurture a mid-level immortal emperor clone. Could it be that Jiao Lanzi really succeeded? At this point, the immortals all looked at the planet with great unease. They had waited for an entire month. Jiao Lanzi had yet to come out. Oh no. It's been so long and Jiao Lanzi still hasn't come out. He's either dead in there or he's still adventuring. Damn it, don't let Jiao Lanzi get the treasure. However, at this moment, boom. The giant planet and immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair wriggled. Then a stream of light squeezed out. The stream of light landed directly on the platform. It revealed Jiao Lanzi's figure. Right now, Jiao Lanzi was extremely exhausted, and his appearance was slightly disheveled. Jiao Lanzi. The four immortals roared. Everyone, you haven't left yet? Jiao Lanzi tidied up his appearance. This. The four immortals looked at each other, not sure what to make of it. Finally, one of the immortals said hesitantly. Jiao Lanzi, in the process of the trial, how far did you go? Jiao Lanzi said bluntly without holding anything back. I'm not talented, I only made it to the 4th level, the green trial world. The green trial world. The four immortals cried out, losing their composure. Yes, in the green trial world, there's an alternate dimension life similar to the devil gorillas. Extremely powerful. Single combat power. No weaker than a level 5 true immortal. Jiao Lanzi said with lingering fear. Is that? Brother Jiao Lanzi, did you kill 10,000 of those devil gorillas and obtained a treasure? That's right, it's a heavenly demon clone, a heavenly demon clone. The four immortals looked at Jiao Lanzi nervously. Killed 10,000 devil gorillas? Easier said than done. Jiao Lanzi replied calmly. Devil gorillas comparable to level 5 true immortals. In the beginning I could still ambush them. I killed a few but then they formed a group and chased me everywhere. It's already very good that I was able to teleport out in time and didn't die inside. Jiao Lanzi shrugged. I only did my best to kill thousands of devil gorillas. Oh? The four immortals let out a long sigh of relief when they heard this. Yes. One of the immortals said with absolute certainty. An alternate dimension life comparable to a level 5 true immortal. To be honest, it's not something we level 2 true immortals can handle. Even Brother Jiao Lanzi. You're talented and have a magic treasure, but you definitely can't kill all 10,000. Brother Jiao Lanzi's words are not false. I wonder how many immortal weapons and magic treasures you've refined and controlled now. At this moment, a soft puffing sound came from Jiao Lanzi's dantian. The magic treasures in my body that I haven't refined and controlled in time are being destroyed. Jiao Lanzi said indifferently, feeling very helpless. I've killed thousands of devil gorillas and obtained a lot of refining power. I've roughly refined and controlled more than 9,000 immortal weapons and magic treasures now. Amazing. Brother Jiao Lanzi is amazing. More than 9,000 magic treasures. Even if Brother Jiao Lanzi's sect is rich, it's impossible for them to keep more than 9,000 magic treasures. Now that Brother Jiao Lanzi returns, your status will definitely skyrocket. We'll all have to rely on Brother Jiao Lanzi in the future. The four immortals hurriedly said politely. That's easy to say. When you return to the immortal world, you'll definitely be treated with great importance, Jiao Lanzi said casually. Are you all going to return to the immortal world now? Yes, it's time to go back. This mortal dimension is really filthy and dirty. Staying here for another day makes my entire body uncomfortable. Moreover, the higher-ups have sent us a message, asking us to end our adventure and immediately return to the immortal dimension so as to avoid any unexpected complications. Then, let's go back. The four immortals all expressed their strong desire to return to the immortal world immediately. They were simply eager to return. Brother Jiao Lanzi, what are you still dilly-dallying for? Let's go home together. The immortals all laughed. Jiao Lanzi frowned slightly. I've become good friends with Brother Xiao in this lower realm. Now, I'm going to Brother Zhao's plane to bid farewell to some of my mortal friends. Xiao Han. The four immortals all laughed mockingly, then looked at the planet. Xiao Han is indeed in danger in the purple trial world. Brother Jiao Lanzi, when you go to Xiao Han's plane, you can also comfort Xiao Han's family, let them, my condolences, As soon as they finished speaking, the four immortals ignited their transportation talismans. 4 spatial wormholes directly rushed down from the other side of the sky, like dreamy rainbows. Let's go. Let's hurry home. The 4 immortals immediately set off, then cupped their hands and bid farewell to Jianghu. Jianghu returned the greeting with a smile. Soon the 4 immortals disappeared without a trace. At this time Jianghu once again stared at the planet, his eyes unblinking. After a long time Jianghu murmured, "Brother Xiao, I hope you're blessed by the heavens. I hope you can safely pass this trial and obtain treasures. Now I'll return to Brother Zhao's plane to see sect leader Wu and other friends." Jianghu had made up his mind. Just as Jianghu was about to use his movement technique and head in the direction of Xiaohan's plane, suddenly Jianghu's figure stopped. His eyes flashed and his ears trembled slightly as if listening to someone speak. The next moment, Jianghu hesitated. "What's going on? The sect sent me a message telling me to return to the immortal world immediately. Did something happen to the sect? This shouldn't be. Forget it, the higher-ups must have sensed that I've ended my adventure and want me to return." As he spoke, Jianghu took out an immortal talisman from his bosom, ignited it, and summoned a spatial wormhole. Jianghu stepped onto the spatial wormhole step by step, facing the planet and cupped his hands. "Brother Xiao, the sect has ordered me to return immediately. I can't disobey, so I'll return to the immortal world first. When I'm done with the various matters in the immortal world, I'll definitely descend to your plane again. At that time I hope Brother Xiao can also come out and we brothers can have a good chat." As he spoke, Jianghu also disappeared without a trace. To be continued. Chapter 688. The Immortal World. The immortal world was a huge special space within the universe and it was almost endless. The entire world of immortals was filled with the supreme spirit energy of the immortal world. There was also the mighty power of the laws. Strictly speaking, the special universe in which the world of immortals was located was divided into 2 parts. One was the immortal world where immortals lived. The other part was the demon realm, which was dark, evil, and seething with demonic aura. Immortal world, Yao world. Immortals, Yao race. These were 2 races that were extremely opposed to each other. Since ancient times they had been fighting fiercely. Under the leadership of the monster god, the monster race had once wanted to devour the entire immortal world. However, after fusing with the egg of the cosmic behemoth, countless immortals and immortal emperors sacrificed their lives to seal the demon god. The loss of the demon egg caused the demon race to be unable to recover. That was why the situation in the immortal world was so good now, and they were firmly suppressing the Yao world. Moreover, as long as the demon god's egg was not in the immortal world, the demon race would not be able to rise again. Of course, the immortal world didn't have enough power to completely conquer the Yao realm. After all, the world of immortals had suffered great losses during the fight against the egg of the Yao god. He needed a long time to recuperate. Thus, in the last 100 years the immortal dimension and demon dimension had been biding their time, and there hadn't been any large-scale battles. The immortal world. The core region. Divine mountains stretched endlessly, multicolored energy rushing into the heavens, multicolored light of all colors. Jade seas and blue skies, there were countless heavenly palaces, like jade dragons, situated within. This area had the densest concentration of immortal qi in the entire immortal world. The dragon vein was hidden within the divine mountain. In the immortal world, it was publicly recognized as the strongest sect. The Tianyi Palace. It was located in this area. And Jianghu was the most outstanding one among the young immortals of the Tianyi Palace. The Tianyi Palace was a big sect with a powerful celestial emperor. It was a powerful sect in the celestial realm. Jianghu was indeed outstanding for being the #1 genius in such a sect. After returning to the immortal world from the mortal world, Jianghu directly returned to the sect and took out the more than 9,000 immortal artifacts that he had refined and controlled from his dantian. At that moment, the entire Tianyi Palace was shocked. It was completely shocking. More than 9,000 immortal artifacts and Dharma treasures. Indeed, the Tianyi Palace was powerful and had countless magic treasures and secret manuals. An immortal artifact. In the battle with the demon realm, he had consumed too much energy. At present, the Tianyi Palace only had about 5,000 magic treasures, secret manuals and magic weapons. Moreover, there were good and bad qualities. Now, Jianghu had brought back 9,000 magic treasures, which had brought the Tianyi Palace to a higher level. In the future, the position of the Tianyi Palace as the #1 sect in the celestial realm would be even more unshakable. Therefore, when Jianghu returned to the celestial world, he received great praise. The sect was shocked. The sect master rewarded him and all the elders received him. Moreover, Jialanzi had received a promise. The Tianyi Palace would spare no effort to cultivate Jialanzi into a celestial emperor. Countless immortal pills were bestowed. Jialanzi even picked out a few of the thousands of Dharma treasures that were most suitable for him to use and most compatible with his soul characteristics. Now Jialanzi's prestige and status in the Tianyi Palace were like the sun at high noon. On the third day after Jialanzi returned to the sect, a few white-haired, sage-like old men with long beards found Jialanzi in his courtyard. Elders, Jialanzi hurriedly came out to greet them. May I know what elders have come to teach me? Ah, good. Jialanzi, you've been out for a few days and your spirit and bearing have improved by leaps and bounds. In front of us, you're neither servile nor overbearing. Ah, your mind has been transformed. You've been reborn. The elders all laughed with relief. Jialanzi, we can conclude that within 10 years, you can at least make continuous breakthroughs and become a level 6 true immortal. Elders, you flatter me? Jialanzi hurriedly said modestly. Well, Jialanzi, you're the future hope of our Tianyi Palace. There's no doubt about that. Come with us now, the elders hastily said. Elder, where are you taking this disciple? Jialanzi asked. However, from the expression on his face, it seemed that he already knew what was going on. Well, the sect leader and the other immortal emperors want to see you. There are some things that the sect leader and the other immortal emperors want to ask you in person, the elders said truthfully. In fact, although Jialanzi had already expected that he would be taken for questioning, he was still a little nervous now. The sect leader of the Tianyi Palace was in the immortal emperor realm, and in the entire immortal world he was one of the top immortal emperors. The friends of the sect leader of the Tianyi Palace were also immortal emperors. Jialanzi was also very nervous about being called over by several immortal emperors for a lecture. However, Jialanzi also knew that this matter could not be avoided. Then elders, let's go, Jialanzi said with a smile. Okay. At the core of the mountains of the Tianyi Palace, there was a palace in the sky. This palace was built in the void, surrounded by clouds and mist. It was extremely ethereal and had an indescribable charm. In all directions of the palace in the sky, there were many immortal formations. It was difficult for outsiders to enter. There was a long staircase that connected to the palace in the sky. Jialanzi was led by several elders to the front of the stairs and began to climb up. After a full 10,000 steps, finally Jialanzi and two elders arrived at the palace in the sky. Inside the green gauze tent, they saw several figures sitting inside the green gauze tent. There was no violent and overbearing aura coming from them. There was only a light breeze, free and unfettered, and there was a flow of energy. Sect Master, Lord Immortal Emperors, Jialanzi has arrived. Several elders bowed in greeting. Jialanzi also hurriedly bowed. Sect Master, you've been well, Lord Immortal Emperors. Jialanzi pays his respects. Well. Inside the gauze tent, a middle-aged man's voice came out. Jialanzi. Very good, you are very good. This time, among the younger generation of our immortal world, countless geniuses have come down to the lower realm to seize the treasure of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao. They have suffered heavy losses, and only a few people can return with full rewards. Jialanzi. You have brought back thousands of magic treasures for the sect and made a great contribution to the revitalization of the sect. This emperor will remember this. Sect leader, serving the sect is what a disciple should do. I don't dare to be arrogant. Jialanzi hurriedly bowed. Good Jialanzi, now after you came down to the lower realm. All kinds of encounters and adventures. Say them one by one. Don't miss anything. When you were in the lower realm, the mortal friends you made also say them one by one. In the gauze tent, the middle-aged man asked. Well? Jialanzi did not dare to resist and directly talked about his encounter with Xiao Han in the lower realm, until the end of the exploration of the third layer of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. Of course, some of the performance of Xiao Han was too heaven-defying, so Jialanzi held back. In other words, in the treasure of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao, only Xiao Han, that mortal, is left? After listening, several immortal emperors in the gauze tent spoke at the same time. This is like this. Jialanzi paused for a moment and then said, Brother Xiao is still in the treasure, but I don't know if he can pass the trial. It seems that it will be very difficult. After all, Xiao Han was teleported to a purple trial world, in which there are creatures at the level of a medium immortal emperor, the sect leader of the First Heaven Society said. However, this mortal Xiao Han is too strange. As Jialanzi said, Xiao Han has indeed created all kinds of miracles. As a mortal, he was actually able to suppress a group of immortals like you. This is simply inconceivable. Even Jialanzi, your performance is far less amazing than Xiao Han's. There must be something strange about this Xiao Han. There must be a great secret. At this point, the head of the Tianyi Palace's voice trembled. Jialanzi was shocked. An immortal emperor had already set his eyes on Xiao Han. Because of this mortal Xiao Han, the sect leader of the First Heaven Society, his state of mind had changed. The state of mind of an immortal emperor was as calm as still water, but now there were obvious waves. Sect leader, what do you mean? Jialanzi asked carefully. Investigate. We must thoroughly investigate Xiao Han. An immortal sitting next to the sect leader of the First Heaven Society said, trembling with excitement. The Qingquan bag, the Linglong pagoda, the emperor-slaying saber, and the doppelganger of the heavenly demons, these treasures must not fall into the hands of a mortal. We must ensure that nothing goes wrong. What's more, Xiao Han has a great secret. Investigate. We immortal emperors will join forces. Open a wormhole, let a few high-level perfected immortals carry magic treasures, force their way to the mortal world, directly enter the plane where Xiao Han is and investigate. If you encounter any resistance, kill without mercy. No? Absolutely not. Jialanzi said immediately. Sect leader, immortal emperors, I, Jialanzi, am willing to go to the mortal world. Jialanzi, you and Xiao Han are good friends, so I won't make things difficult for you. You should cultivate in seclusion. Don't get involved in this matter, I have my own ideas, the sect leader of the First Heaven Society said decisively in an unquestionable tone. Ju Dao, immortal emperor's treasure. The purple trial space. Bang! Xiao Han slashed out, and a dazzling saber light with a trajectory in line with the heavenly Dao killed a bald man with a long tail. Then, the power of refinement returned to Xiao Han. He sat cross-legged and began to meditate again. Now Xiao Han's aura was becoming more and more fierce and domineering. After the bald man was killed and decomposed, his body condensed again, and he bowed to Xiao Han respectfully. Master, the 54th is willing to submit to you. Xiao Han said lightly. The next moment, the bald man turned into a beam of light and entered Xiao Han's soul sense C. Good. Although I've been killed countless times, I've learned the 54th move of the 100 Lives Saber technique. Now, my saber technique has made great progress and my understanding of the saber is getting deeper and deeper, close to the Great Way. Moreover, I've taken 54 slaves comparable to middle-level immortal emperors. Ah. Xiao Han laughed heartily, stood up and walked toward the next light door. To be continued. Chapter 689. At this time, Jialanzi was extremely shocked. After the master of the Tianyi Palace and the other immortal emperors questioned him in detail about Xiao Han, they actually decided to send immortals to the mortal world again to deal with Xiao Han, and even people from Xiao Han's world. In this regard, Jialanzi also tried his best to persuade them. No. Sect leader, immortal emperors, why do you have to lower yourselves and send immortals to the mortal world? To deal with some mortals, this is a loss of face for us immortals. Sect leader, immortal emperors, please reconsider. Enough, Jialanzi, from today on, you can cultivate in seclusion, the master of the Tianyi Palace said coldly and discontentedly. After this matter is dealt with, you can come out of seclusion. As soon as he finished speaking, a hurricane-like spatial power directly blew Jialanzi away. Lord Sect Master, several of the elders cried out in terror. Lord Sect Master, please forgive Jialanzi. He did not mean to offend Lord Sect Master. Well, you don't have to worry. I just sent Jialanzi to this space of 9 suns where the Tianyi Palace cultivated geniuses for generations. The space of 9 suns was a special space opened up by the previous masters of the Tianyi Palace. It was filled with the divine chi of 9 suns. Jialanzi could cultivate in it by leaps and bounds. When I deal with Xiao Han, I will let Jialanzi out. Hearing this, the elders' expressions eased a little. At this time there was a brief silence. Inside the gauze tent, the immortal emperors seemed to be discussing secretly. After a while, summon Jun Linzi. The master of the Tianyi Palace said quickly. A young man appeared. He appeared in front of the gauze tent. This man. Her skin was smooth and glossy, and her facial features were sharp and chiseled. Her eyes were filled with innate pride and domineeringness. Her hair was tied up in a bun with a wooden hairpin piercing through it. She wore coarse hemp clothes and was empty-handed. But his aura was like that of an ancient divine mountain, as if he had everything under control. Jun Linzi. A level 7 perfected immortal. Although he looked like a young man, his real age was over 1,000 years old. He was also one of the most monstrous geniuses of that era. As a sword immortal, his offensive power was comparable to that of a level 8 true immortal. If he were to use his immortal treasures, defeating an average level 8 true immortal would not be an issue at all. Jun Linzi. Even the elders with profound cultivation bases were stunned. Facing Jun Linzi, who was showing off his abilities, he was a little cautious. Greetings, elders. Jun Linzi's lips curled into an extremely devilish smile. He then looked at the canopy and cupped his hands. Disciple greets sect leader and elders. Well, Jun Linzi, I can see that the traces of sword chi on your body are becoming more and more flawless. You've already entered the way of swordsmanship. Not bad, not bad, the head of the Tianyi Palace praised. He paused for a moment. Jun Linzi, I want you to make a trip down to the lower realms. The lower bound? Jun Linzi paused for a moment, then smiled confidently. If I'm not mistaken, it should be, to deal with that mortal, Xiaohan, right? Well, according to the young immortal who came back from the exploration of Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, the one who gained the most in this exploration was a mortal, Xiaohan. Sect leader, are you going to deal with Xiaohan? It doesn't matter. As long as you give the order, I will immediately kill Xiaohan's entire family, destroy his plane, destroy his cultivation, and bring him back. Well, Jun Linzi, you can even defeat a level 8 true immortal. Now you want to go down to the lower bound to deal with a mortal. Indeed, it's like killing a chicken with a butcher's knife. But just take it as a way to relax yourself. If you do this well, I'll reward you, the head of the Tianyi Palace said with a smile. Yes. However, sect leader, with my cultivation and aura, it's difficult for me to go down to the lower bound. Because the space rampart in the mortal world is very fragile and can't bear my aura. I'm afraid that if I go down to the lower bound, I'll break through the space rampart in the mortal world. Jun Linzi said with a frown. Jun Linzi, you don't have to worry about this, the head of the Tianyi Palace said in a wise manner. We've done some research. In the vast mortal world, there are some areas with stronger space ramparts. We've tried our best and finally found an uninhabited planet in the mortal world. The space rampart there can allow a level 4 true immortal to descend. Then we'll give you some special celestial artifacts that can hide your aura. Together we'll open a space-time wormhole and let you go down to the lower bound. Jun Linzi was overjoyed. That's great. Listen, Jun Linzi, now Xiaohan may be exploring Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. But you can't enter Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. When you go down to the lower bound, hide your aura, find Xiaohan's plane and hide there. Don't alert him for the time being. Just stay in Xiaohan's plane and wait for him to return. If something unexpected happens, you can capture all the mortals in Xiaohan's plane. Or, kill all of them. This time, you go down to the lower bound with some outstanding immortals of the Tianyi sect. I'll find a way to hide your aura so that the space rampart in the mortal world won't collapse. Yes, Jun Linzi. In the mortal world. On a barren planet in the vast universe. There was no trace of life on this planet. At this moment, boom. A huge space-time wormhole fell from the sky. Flowers fell from the sky, and golden lotuses appeared on the ground. Soon, a group of people with extraordinary auras walked out of the space-time wormhole. The person in the lead was Jun Linzi. Behind Jun Linzi there were as many as 80 immortals. These 80 immortals were all level 6 true immortals. Is this the mortal world? The space rampart is so fragile. Some level 6 true immortals shouted. Don't be so noisy. Jun Linzi flipped his right hand and a Rui scepter inlaid with gems that looked like stars appeared in his hand. With a wave of the Rui scepter, a faint glow was emitted and shrouded the group of immortals led by Jun Linzi. The Rui scepter immediately concealed the aura of the immortals. How magical. No wonder it's the heirloom treasure of the Tianyi sect. It can hide us temporarily. As long as we don't attack, no ordinary person in the mortal world will be able to see through our disguise. The level 6 true immortals exclaimed. Jun Linzi put away the Rui scepter and said coldly. This artifact can only hide our aura. However, once we unleash our immortal force, the space around us will collapse, and we might be killed by the fragments of the space rampart. Therefore listen carefully. Don't attack recklessly when you're in the mortal world. Even if you're going to attack, you must be prepared to dodge so that you won't be injured by the fragments of the space rampart. Now, I have the coordinates of Xiaohan's plane. Let's go there straight away. When we arrive at Xiaohan's plane, we'll conceal our aura and hide there, waiting for Xiaohan to return. Yes. Senior brother Jun Linzi. After a pause, one of the level 6 true immortals asked, "Why did the sect leader send us down to the mortal world to deal with a mortal? We're all level 6 true immortals and you, senior brother Jun Linzi, are the most powerful sword immortals among all the level 7 true immortals. Is a mere mortal worth our time?" "Shut up. Do you know what's so special about Xiaohan? He has the means to kill immortals." Jun Linzi reprimanded. "Well, killing immortals is just killing some level 2 true immortals. In the immortal realm we can kill dozens of level 2 true immortals with a single slap." Most of the level 6 true immortals were still unconvinced. Be that as it may, we can't be careless. Once Xiaohan comes out from Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, he might have a few peerless treasures in his possession. Jun Linzi sneered. Then a brilliant light burst out from his eyes. The Heaven-Earth Pouch, the Exquisite Pagoda, the Monarch Executioner, the Sky Demon Clone. If we obtain any of those treasures and hand them over to the sect, it'll be a great contribution, even greater than what Jiao Lanzi has done this time. With that, the level 6 true immortals were all riled up. "All right. Senior brother Jun Linzi will listen to your command this time. We must capture Xiaohan and obtain the treasures. Moreover, Xiaohan is full of secrets to begin with. All right, enough with the nonsense. Let's head to Xiaohan's realm now." With Jun Linzi's order, a large group of immortals disappeared from the barren planet. Xiaohan's realm. Now Xiaohan's dimension was flourishing and flourishing, like the sun in the sky. Ever since Wu Hao, Xiao Mingqiu and the others returned to the realm from Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, they took out the elixirs they had refined and mastered in the second level to nurture the demons of this realm with great potential. As for Wu Hao and the others, they seized the time and directly entered the Yaoxiao Pagoda to begin seclusion. After this round of training and tempering, they had all firmly grasped the immortal fate. They believed that this seclusion would allow them to ascend to the heavens in a single step and become immortals. This was a huge matter. After all, apart from Wu Hao and the others from the Cloud and Rain sect, there were also some elders of the Yaoxiao Pagoda, ancient figureheads, and Xiaohan's slaves who had touched the immortal fate. Once all of them became immortals, Xiaohan's realm would have dozens of immortals in one go. This was something that had never happened in the history of the mortal world. It could be said that the entire realm was immersed in an extremely prosperous atmosphere. Several months later, Jun Linzi and the other immortals had already quietly arrived at Xiaohan's realm. They concealed themselves, disguised, and hid in the marketplace. They did everything they could to find out information about Xiaohan's realm. Naturally, Wu Hao and the others did not know that a group of giants was already lying on their sides beside them. To be continued. Chapter 690. Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's Treasure. Purple Trial World. Xiaohan naturally did not know that the sect master of the Qianni sect and some immortal emperors had already taken action against him and sent many high-level genuine immortals into his plane. If Xiaohan knew about this, he would definitely go crazy. Phew. In the secret initiation room, Xiaohan was naked from the waist up. His skin was like jade, and his pores were emitting saber chi like coiling dragons. "Hey, I have killed 93 creatures from different dimensions, learned 93 moves of the strongest saber skills, and obtained 93 slaves comparable to middle-level immortal emperors. There are only 7 moves left in the 100 Lives Saber principle, and I have learned all of them." Ah! During this period of time, Xiaohan had simply endured hardships and cultivated as if he was hanging on a beam to stab his thigh. There was no distinction between day and night. At every moment he was learning the 100 Lives Saber principle and challenging it. Constantly dying, constantly resurrecting, constantly exploring, and constantly comprehending, Xiaohan had almost never rested. Fortunately, Xiaohan's soul and mental energy were too strong. Even if he didn't sleep or rest, he could still maintain his spirit-piercing rainbow state. And every time he killed a level 7 creature from different dimensions, Xiaohan could obtain the reverse nourishment of the refining power and perfect the 100 Lives Saber principle. Now, my Saber Dao has reached a certain level of maturity. Xiaohan's lips curled into a satisfied smile. Although my realm has not improved, I have comprehended the 93rd move of the 100 Lives Saber principle, and the natal saber chi in my soul is getting stronger and stronger. More and more condensed. The saber principle technique. It is almost perfect. My combat power should be comparable to a level 6 genuine immortal. With one move, even a level 6 genuine immortal can be cut into pieces by me. TSK, Senior Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor is worthy of being the 3rd Immortal Emperor in the immortal world. The saber principle he created is unparalleled. Brilliant and brilliant. After mortals learn it, they can kill immortals. As he spoke, Xiao Han was already walking toward the next light door. However, Xiao Han did not know that not every ordinary person could learn the 100 Lives Saber Dao like Xiao Han. This was because Xiao Han's soul and mental energy were extremely strong. On top of that, he had already grasped the sword intent of the Great Accomplishment stage, and he also had the extraordinary foundation of the Sword Chi Dragon. Hence, Xiaoqin could not only learn but also perfectly control the 100-era Saber Dao. 1 month later. Seal Marshall Field. In front of Xiao Han stood a handsome man with his back straight like a spear. His eyes were sharp and his expression was indifferent. His eyes displayed the birth and death of planes and the disintegration of planets. His entire body contained an extremely terrifying power. It was as if he could destroy an entire space with a single glance. Behind this man there was also a tail. It was also a level 7-dimensional creature. This was also the last level 7-dimensional creature that Xiao Han was going to challenge. He had mastered the Absolute Saber Immortal Emperor's Saber Dao, the final move of the 100 Lives Saber Dao. This guy is stronger than the previous 99 people. Xiao Han's heart tightened as he faced such a strong opponent. Oh, a disciple chosen by Master? The indifferent man's gaze focused on Xiao Han. In an instant, Xiao Han felt as if his heart had been pierced through. It was as if all of his secrets were as easy as flipping his palm in this fellow's eyes. Restrain your aura, Xiao Han immediately retorted. Don't forget the rules. I also know that you are all medium immortal emperors and I am just a mortal. You can crush me with your aura alone. However, don't tell me you don't know the rules of this trial? Suppress your aura to the same level as mine. Oh. The indifferent man looked at Xiao Han with interest. Impressive. You really have a sharp tongue. You are a powerful person to be able to overcome all obstacles and arrive in front of me. Young man, you have already mastered the first 99 moves of the 100-era Saber Principle. It is really hard to imagine that a mere mortal like you has such talent and talent. The owner of the invincible saber is indeed extraordinary. Then, let's fight. As long as you can defeat me and master the 100th move of the 100-era Saber Principle, then your trial will end perfectly. It turned out that this man had mastered the last move of the 100-era Saber Principle. His name was Bai Shi. Bring it on. Xiao Han's body was filled with battle intent. Suddenly, after Bai Shi suppressed his cultivation level, he slashed out a saber ray that was close to the pinnacle of the universe Saber Principle. This saber ray was like the sun shining brightly. As soon as the saber ray appeared, everything in the world was left with light. Divine light. Pfft. Under this light ray, Xiao Han's entire body was obliterated into nothingness. The last move of the 100-era Saber Principle 100-era is the strongest killing move. It is not comparable to the previous 99 moves. Before Xiao Han's consciousness disappeared, Bai Shi's indifferent voice reached Xiao Han's ears. Damn, this move is really too strong, but I, Xiao Han, don't believe it. Xiao Han sat cross-legged and carefully recalled the trajectory and characteristics of this move. Again. Then Xiao Han pushed the door open again. Just like that, Xiao Han repeatedly died, resurrected, imitated, and learned. After a total of 60 days, Xiao Han finally mastered this move, killing Bai Shi under the peerless saber ray. The top of the enclosed space where Xiao Han was standing suddenly opened, and endless purple vortexes began to roll. Ha 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 ha. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's wild laughter resounded in the purple vortexes. Phew. Xiao Han withdrew his saber aura and straightened his back. He looked above his head and a faint smile appeared on his face. He thought to himself, this is great. I finally mastered all 100 moves of the 100-era Saber Principle, but... Xiao Han suddenly realized that after learning the 100-era Saber Principle, the inheritance jade plate in his dantian and the will restriction had been partially broken. However, there was still a portion left. It was still not broken. Moreover, the portion that could not be broken. Xiao Han realized that the most mysterious secret was hidden in it. Moreover, after learning the 100 moves of the 100-era Saber Principle, Xiao Han realized that this invincible saber technique seemed to be incomplete. There was still something missing. Simply put, this set of saber technique. Only one piece of the puzzle was missing. Only one piece was missing. All that was left was the finishing touch. Just when Xiao Han was having all kinds of doubts, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was heard laughing. Great. Young man, you really did not let us down. You did not let this emperor down. You killed 100 mid-stage immortal emperors and learned 100 moves of the 100 Lives Saber Dao. Ah. You are officially the disciple of the invincible blade. You are also my only disciple in this world. Ah. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was full of unconcealable joy and gratification. As for Xiao Han, now he also admired and was grateful to Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. Although Xiao Han had always been communicating with Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, he was communicating with Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's divine soul. However, Xiao Han had also developed a master-disciple relationship with Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. Master. Xiao Han didn't hesitate for long and immediately called out. Disciple Xiao Han, thanks Master for your guidance. I will teach you everything I know. Hearing Xiao Han call him Master, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice became extremely excited. Good disciple. Xiao Han? Yes. You are Master's good disciple. Ah. I, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, have such a good disciple. My disciple is unparalleled in the world. Ah. Good disciple. Now Master has some things to tell you. Listen carefully. Yes, Xiao Han said respectfully. Disciple, I'm sure you've noticed that the 100-era saber principle still has some imperfections, right? Yes, Master will tell you that you must enter the 4th level in order to obtain the true meaning of the last move of the 100-era saber principle. It is also the most important move. 100-era return to 1. Only after this move will the saber principle be greater success. Only with this move will you be able to completely refine the inheritance jade pendant in your body. You will be imbued with wisdom and you will completely inherit my legacy. However, you can't enter the 4th level now. You must become an immortal before you can enter the 4th level and learn the soul of Master's saber principle. I must become an immortal. Xiao Han came to a sudden realization. Then, disciple, you can leave for now. You've learned the first 100 moves. With your combat power, you can even use the saber principle to kill a level 7 true immortal. There is no doubt about this, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao said proudly. Yes, I've been training for more than half a year. It's time for me to go home. Xiao Han smiled. Ah, as my only disciple, Master will give you some benefits now. Listen. First, you've already controlled 100 level 7 alternate dimension creatures as slaves. Each level 7 alternate dimension creature has combat power comparable to a medium immortal emperor. As for these 100 level 7 dimensional creatures, they are a secret of mine. Even those immortal emperors in the immortal world don't know that I have 100 of these slaves. Now, these slaves are disciples' secret weapon. With this power, even if you reach the immortal world, you can definitely do whatever you want. The only thing you're afraid of is the first and second old things. You don't have to worry about the other immortal emperors. Also, this planet of mine will be refined into your body and become a part of it. The Heavenly Earth Pouch, Monarch Slayer Saber, Linglong Pagoda, and Heavenly Fiend Clone, these 4 most precious treasures are now yours. However, disciple, you're immortal now. Before you become an immortal, you won't be able to refine these treasures. All the alternate dimension creatures in this training world will become your slaves. Red Trial Space, Level 1 alternate dimension creatures, countless in number, combat power equivalent to a Level 2 true immortal. Orange Trial Space, Level 2 alternate dimension creatures, metal life forms, countless in number, combat power equivalent to a Level 3 true immortal. Yellow Trial Space, Level 3 alternate dimension creatures, desert life forms, countless in number, combat power equivalent to a Level 4 true immortal. Green Trial Space, Level 4 alternate dimension creatures, devil gorillas, 30,000 in number, combat power equivalent to a Level 5 true immortal. Blue Trial Space, Level 5 alternate dimension creatures, ancient plant life forms, 20,000 in number, combat power equivalent to a Level 6 true immortal. Blue Trial Space, Level 6 alternate dimension creatures, marine life forms, 10,000 in number, combat power equivalent to a Level 7 true immortal. All of them will become your slaves. Also, all the immortal weapons and treasures that the other adventurers have yet to refine in their bodies will all be taken back by me. They will all belong to you. Once you become an immortal, you can slowly refine these immortal weapons and treasures. Now that you're immortal, there's no need to be greedy. All of these, are all mine. Xiao Han's heart skipped a beat when he heard Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's words. So many alternate dimension creatures, so many treasures, and 4 of the most powerful ones were all his? It was too terrifying. Xiao Han almost suffocated. To be continued? Chapter 691. Xiaohan was completely submerged by this sudden wealth. He could not help himself at all. Leaving aside the Heaven-Earth Pouch, Monarch Executioner Saber, Exquisite Pagoda, and the Heavenly Demon Clan's Avatar, these were the top 4 Paragon mystic treasures in the immortal realm. There were countless other magic treasures of extremely high quality. After all, hundreds of thousands of immortals and mortals had entered the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove to explore. In fact, every mortal and immortal had obtained points and mystic treasures in the preliminaries, but those who chose to give up later had their mystic treasures destroyed. Similarly, after the end of the arena hegemony battles, the outstanding ones had a large number of immortal weapons and mystic treasures. For example, apart from Xiaohan, several immortals including Jiao Lanzi had tens of thousands of mystic treasures. However, these mystic treasures had also disappeared when they exited the third level before they could refine them. Now Xiaohan knew that these immortal weapons and mystic treasures did not disappear into thin air. Instead they were retrieved by Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. All the immortal weapons and mystic treasures that were retrieved belonged to Xiaohan. Now they all belonged to Xiaohan. This left Xiaohan dumbfounded. Moreover, apart from mystic treasures, Xiaohan also had countless alternate dimensional beings. The weakest of these alternate dimensional beings were comparable to level 2 true immortals. There were even alternate dimensional beings with level 3, level 4, and even level 6 and level 7 true immortals. Now Xiaohan could almost form an army of immortals. His most terrifying trump card was the 100 level 7 alternate dimensional beings. Combat power comparable to a medium immortal emperor, just the thought of it was enough to make one collapse. I've completely inherited Master Zhu Dao's legacy and wealth. Xiaohan was overjoyed. Looks like this is an adventure for training. So many mortals and immortals. Countless geniuses participated. The final winner is me, Xiaohan. Everyone else has become my sparring partner. Now, with the resources I control, even if I go to the immortal world, I can easily establish an extremely terrifying immortal world sect. Xiaohan also felt as if he was in a dream. Back then he was a living target that was bullied and humiliated by others. Now he had grown into a demon-like figure. At this moment, the third level of the trial world began to shake, and the entire Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure, that huge planet, also seemed to be wriggling violently. Why do I feel like I'm about to collapse? Xiaohan's heart skipped a beat. At that moment, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was heard once again. All right, my disciple, you can leave now. Master's planet will be refined into your body. This will allow you to control everything perfectly. When you become an immortal, you can enter the fourth level and undergo the final adventure to obtain the final inheritance of my sword Dao, which is also the most crucial part of the inheritance. Xiaohan calmed himself down and bowed respectfully after hearing Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's words. Master, disciple understands. The next moment, Xiaohan was sent flying by a huge force. Very soon Xiaohan stood on the huge platform near the planet. He looked up and saw that the huge planet had begun to disintegrate into countless streams of light that directly shot into Xiaohan's knowledge sea. In an instant, these streams of light reassembled in Xiaohan's knowledge sea and condensed into the shape of a planet. Moreover, Xiaohan and this planet had established a mysterious relationship. It was a kind of flesh and blood connection, an inseparable connection. Oh, it seems that I have officially refined Master's planet lair. Xiaohan's heart flashed with a trace of enlightenment. At the same time, some information flashed through Xiaohan's mind. This information was very accurate. The number of magical treasures controlled is 5697665. Attack type, defense type, special type, elixirs, secret manuals, rare materials, weapons. There are all kinds of them. 4 of the most powerful magical treasures are also among them. However, my current mortal body is not able to refine these immortal treasures. Slaves, controlling 165547 level 1-dimensional creatures. Their battle strength is equivalent to a level 2 true immortal. Controlling 138977 level 2-dimensional creatures. Their battle strength is equivalent to a level 3 true immortal. Controlling 87655 level 3-dimensional creatures, the desert creatures. Their battle strength is equivalent to a level 4 true immortal. Controlling 28676 level 4-dimensional creatures, the devil gorilla creatures. Their battle strength is equivalent to a level 5 true immortal. Controlling 17659 level 5-dimensional creatures, the ancient plant creatures. Their battle strength is equivalent to a level 6 true immortal. Controlling 10876 level 6-dimensional creatures, the sea creatures, their battle strength is equivalent to a level 7 true immortal. Controlling 7-dimensional creatures, the universe's special long-tailed creatures. They can transform into human form. 100 of them, their battle strength is equivalent to a mid-level immortal emperor. Xiao Han was completely aware of his wealth. His wealth was comparable to a country's. I finally understand why Master's wealth is the greatest in the immortal world. Xiao Han's face was filled with shock and admiration. Back then, it was said that Master's wealth was equivalent to the total wealth of the entire immortal world combined. At that time, I didn't believe it and thought it was an exaggeration. But today, it's not an exaggeration, it's not an exaggeration. Xiao Han was lost in thought for a moment and then, slaves come out. The next moment, boom. There was a huge tremor in the space. With Xiao Han as the center, a large area of space suddenly caved in. Boundless pressure covered the heavens and covered the earth as it came. Beams of light that reached the sky burned in all directions. Clouds were rising. Densely packed creatures from the alternate dimension appeared on this platform. Leading them were naturally the 100 level 7-dimensional creatures with battle strength comparable to a mid-level immortal emperor. Hundreds of thousands of creatures from different dimensions stood in an orderly manner, like a well-trained army. Then, all of them knelt down on one knee. They roared and shouted, "Master!" Their voices shook the starry sky. Moreover, their aura. It was too tyrannical, especially the 100 level 7-dimensional creatures. The aura of an immortal emperor was released, and there was a terrifying feeling of collapsing the starry sky. If not for the extremely strong space barrier around immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair, this piece of starry sky would have been destroyed. Even so, the space in all directions had already begun to melt and some of the planets were already disintegrating. Not good. The space is about to be completely destroyed by your aura. Xiao Han also shouted in his heart, and with a thought, he kept this group of terrifying slaves back into his sea of consciousness. Phew, this space almost melted. Xiao Han heaved a sigh of relief and looked around. He found that the void was full of holes like broken ice. It was about to crack. Seeing this, Xiao Han quickly and carefully moved his body. When Xiao Han's area just now, bang, finally, such a huge area was completely smashed into pieces. A large piece of space had become a black hole like an ancient giant beast. Xiao Han was watching from afar and he clicked his tongue. Immediately, some thoughts surged into Xiao Han's mind. Too tyrannical, the aura of these dimensional creatures is too tyrannical. Just their aura alone can tear space apart. Unless they enter the immortal world, otherwise, it is almost impossible for me to release them in this mortal world. Xiao Han frowned. At this moment, an idea flashed into Xiao Han's mind. That's right. I can let these dimensional creatures cultivate the spirit turtle true qi. In this way they can perfectly suppress the pressure of the immortal qi on them, and they can disguise as ordinary people at any time and anywhere. They can follow me. Even ordinary immortals will find it difficult to see through them immediately. Thinking of this, Xiao Han did not hesitate, and directly used his mind to look inside, and illuminated the solid spiritual power planet. On the solid spiritual power planet, those dimensional creatures worshipped devoutly, releasing their faith and will of submission. He wanted to use his mind to communicate with these dimensional creatures, and directly tell them the cultivation method of the spirit turtle true qi. Then, one by one, the dimensional creatures, led by the 100 level 7-dimensional creatures, began to cultivate seriously. I also want to comprehend the saber technique I learned, the 100 live saber Dao. Xiao Han also took the opportunity to sit cross-legged in the void. In an instant, rays of saber light were released from Xiao Han's pores, and coiled around Xiao Han like a coiling dragon. Around Xiao Han, the lingering charm of the saber qi bloomed into wondrous flowers, swaying gracefully. As the flowers swayed, they produced a strange rhythm, as if someone was wielding a saber, performing a saber technique that was compatible with the way of the saber. Currently, in terms of the way of the saber alone, Xiao Han had already reached the apex of the universe, regardless of cultivation level. Even in the immortals world, he would definitely be at the highest level, only second to immortal Emperor Zhu Dao in the past. If Xiao Han entered the fourth layer and absorbed the last part of the essence of the way of the saber, he would be able to match the strength of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao in the past. Those dimensional creatures were all geniuses. Cultivating the spirit turtle true qi was a piece of cake for them, and they could learn and control it. Moreover, the energy on them was no different from immortal qi, far superior to true qi. The spirit turtle true chi they used this energy to power up their concealment ability was even more powerful. In just 3 days all the dimensional creatures could use the spirit turtle true chi to conceal their presence perfectly. During these 3 days Xiao Han also gained a deeper understanding of the 100 Lives Saber Dao. All of you come out. With a single thought from Xiao Han, all the creatures from the alternate dimension appeared again. They stood in formation. Then they knelt on one knee. Master. This time, under the concealment of the spirit turtle true chi, their presence no longer shattered the space. Every single one of them was gentle, very harmonious with the space. Good, very good. Xiao Han nodded in satisfaction. Master, thank you, Master, for passing the trial and allowing us to regain our freedom. The 100 level 7-dimensional creatures revealed joyful expressions. The eyes of the most powerful Baisher shone brightly. Master, I heard that the previous master, the master of the invincible saber, was at odds with some immortal emperors in the immortals world. Now, why don't we kill our way to the immortals world and demand an explanation for the master of the invincible saber? With your current strength, Master, you can do whatever you want in the immortals world. Going to the immortals world is a must, but now is not the time, Xiao Han said with a smile. Let's go. Follow me to my mortal plane first. Yes, Master. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. With a thought, Xiao Han absorbed all the creatures from the alternate dimension into his sea of consciousness. Then Xiao Han directly flew towards his own plane. Home. I'm finally going home. Ah. Xiao Han was so excited at the thought of his own plane and going home that he could hardly control himself. I wonder if the sect leader and the others have become immortals. And how are my wife and sons doing? Ah. If the sect leader knew that I completed the trial perfectly and obtained so many powerful slaves, would he be shocked? Immortal emperor-level slaves. Let alone the sect leader, even Brother Jialan and the others would be shocked speechless, wouldn't they? Ah. Xiao Han's plane. Jun Linzi led 80 level 6 true immortals and relied on a special celestial artifact to successfully blend into the masses of people in this plane. They had already stayed in this plane for several months. Xiao Han still did not return. This made them extremely anxious. Senior Brother Jun Linzi, why hasn't Xiao Han returned yet? It's so boring for a group of immortals like us to wait for a mortal here. Why don't we capture all the lowly mortals in Xiao Han's plane first? Said an immortal grimacing. Don't be hasty. Jun Linzi's lips curled into a sinister smile as he looked in the direction of the Yaoxia Pagoda. When a man achieves the Tao, his chickens and dogs also rise to heaven. Some of the mortals in this plane seem to have obtained great immortal fortune because of Xiao Han. In the near future, a group of mortals will condense immortal clouds and ascend. But, after a pause, Jun Linzi's voice turned sinister. You want to become an immortal under my watch? That's wishful thinking. To be continued? Chapter 692. Xiao Han's Dimension. An extremely strange phenomenon was happening in Xiao Han's dimension. With the Yaoxia Pagoda as the center, countless heaven and earth essence chi was gathering. Clouds moved in all directions. In the beginning, only the heaven and earth essence chi of this dimension gathered toward the Yaoxia Pagoda. Later, countless spiritual chi from all directions of this dimension also swarmed over. Following that, beams of light descended from the sky. They descended near the Yaoxia Pagoda in Xiao Han's dimension. The entire Yaoxia Pagoda was completely enveloped by thick spiritual chi and became all kinds of auspicious beasts. Flowers fell from the sky and golden lotuses appeared on the ground. Subconsciously, some poems of praise began to be sung. Ibdu, the mortals of this dimension did not understand what was going on. Moreover, they were shocked by such a phenomenon. They seemed to have a premonition that something rare and great was about to happen in this dimension. The ordinary people of this dimension, the east, south, west and north regions as well as the great wilderness, began to burn incense and place offerings on the tables. They began to kneel and pray to the heavens. And the martial artists and heroes of the Yaoxia region seemed to understand something. A strange phenomenon from the heavens. A strange phenomenon from the heavens. It's an auspicious sign. Something big is going to happen in our dimension. I heard that sect Master Wu of the Pure Cloud sect and many elders of the Yaoxia Pagoda are cultivating in seclusion. They are going to break through to the immortal realm. It seems that they are going to succeed. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Someone in our dimension is going to ascend to the heavens. This is something that I've never even dreamed of. In my lifetime. a martial artist who can see our dimension, ascending to the heavens. Even if I die immediately, my life will not be in vain. In the end, the entire Yaoxia region was bathed in thick spiritual qi. It was an auspicious sign. Inside the Yaoxia pagoda, in the secret chamber, in dozens of secret chambers, there were people cultivating at this moment. In the secret chamber where Wu Yu was, Wu Yu sat cross-legged, exuding a mysterious aura. His entire spirit and aura. It was like a brand new person. I sensed it. I sensed it. Suddenly Wu Yu opened his eyes, which were as bright as stars. I finally comprehended the immortal world beyond the 9 heavens. Immortal ascension. It was no longer wishful thinking. It's real. Wu Yu's gaze shifted. In 3 days I will face my immortal tribulation. Crow was very clear about this. After that, he flipped his right hand, and a celestial artifact appeared in his hand. While exploring Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure, I refined and controlled an immortal treasure. It's very compatible with my soul and temperament. I rely on this celestial artifact. Transcending the immortal tribulation shouldn't be a problem. Then he took out the evil hero token and sent a voice transmission to the people in the other secret rooms. Everyone should have sensed the arrival of the immortal tribulation. This time we have gone through life and death experiences and the competition with the immortals. Our minds have been sharpened to the fullest. In a few days we will undergo the immortal tribulation. Everyone has a celestial artifact. With the protection of the celestial artifact, it should not be a problem for us to pass the immortal tribulation. In the other secret chambers, Xiao Mingqiu, Yan Lang, Fang Ling, and the others were all in the same state as Wu Li. They were all certain that their immortal tribulations would arrive in 3 days. Excited, tremble, excitement, looking forward to it, indescribable, uncontrollable. The ultimate goal of anyone who cultivated the martial Tao was to become an immortal and seek eternal life. However, only 1 in a billion mortals could become an immortal. To become an immortal was like accomplishing a lifelong dream. They could die without regrets. Moreover, everyone was very confident in transcending the immortal realm this time. It should be noted that in ancient times, the mortals who became immortals relied on their bodies and true qi to withstand the immortal tribulation. They did not have celestial artifacts. However, Wu Li and the others had celestial artifacts. Using celestial artifacts to transcend the immortal tribulation meant that they had a 90% chance of success. In a city near the evil hero domain. In an elegant courtyard. Jun Linzi and many level 6 true immortals sat leisurely in a pavilion in the courtyard, sipping tea. Ha ha ha. Jun Linzi looked in the direction of the evil hero pagoda with a malicious gaze. If I'm not mistaken, in 3 days at the latest, some ants in this plane will face the immortal tribulation. TSK, at least 10 of them will undergo the immortal tribulation at the same time. Ha ha, damn it. They must have benefited from Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. Otherwise, how could mortals become immortals so easily? Some level 6 true immortals grimaced. Transcending the immortal tribulation? With me here, that's impossible. This plane has Xiao Han and he's our target. It's very important, so the mortals in his plane are not qualified to become immortals. Jun Linzi said sinisterly. That's right. We can't let these puny mortals become immortals. Dozens of level 6 true immortals echoed. I'm a level 7 true immortal. I can shatter countless planes like this with a flip of my hand. It'll be a piece of cake for me to stop a bunch of mortals from becoming immortals. Jun Linzi's expression changed. A crafty plot was brewing in his eyes. 3 days later, something strange happened again. All the spiritual qi of heaven and earth gathered into the shape of clouds above the evil hero pagoda. Dozens of immortal clouds spread out at once. Each cloud contained a strong aura of energy. Furthermore, every cloud seemed to have formed a connection with a supreme space in the unseen world. It was as if each cloud was a space-time wormhole. Boom, boom, boom. The immortal clouds moved. The energy inside the immortal clouds began to transform. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth was transformed into immortal qi. Moreover, there were countless intertwining thunderbolts. These thunderbolts seemed like they were going to combine into beams of light and strike down at any time. Inside the evil hero pagoda, the tribulation cloud. Our tribulation cloud is here. Wu Yu, Xiao Mingqiu and the others. Their hearts were pounding. The next moment, boom, 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 boom. Wu, Xiao Mingqiu, Fang Ling, Yan Lang, and the others flew out of the secret chamber of the evil hero pagoda. They were all hovering in the air. Dozens of mortals were sitting cross-legged. Hong, 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 dozens of immortal clouds spread out in the sky, covering the heads of Wu Yu and the other mortals. A cloud of immortal clouds appeared above them. Thunderbolts intertwined. Dense immortal chi. The immortal chi began to merge with the thunderbolts. Everyone. Soon, our immortal tribulation will descend. These thunderbolts will contain extremely pure immortal chi. When they attack us, they will kill us. Once we withstand the thunderbolts, the immortal chi in the thunderbolts will spread into our bodies and turn our true chi into immortal chi. It transformed into immortal chi. Therefore, we will be able to open a passage and enter the immortal realm. Similarly, if we can't withstand the thunderbolts' attacks, we will be turned into ashes. Wu Yu roared. However, we all have immortal artifacts. It shouldn't be a problem for us to withstand the thunderbolts' attacks. I wish everyone good luck. You'll be able to successfully pass the tribulation. As he spoke, Crow's gaze also looked towards the distant void space and he murmured, Xiao Han, we didn't expect the immortal tribulation to come so soon. We can't wait for your return. However, I believe that you can successfully complete the trial and return to your hometown. Then we'll wait for you in the immortal realm. In a city near the evil hero region, Jun Linzi and the other immortals stood on a tall mountain and looked at the tribulation clouds above the evil hero pagoda mockingly. How naive. Jun Linzi sneered. Later, when they succeed in their immortal tribulation, we'll cut off their connection with the immortal realm. Not only will they fail to pass the immortal tribulation, but they'll also be severely injured. Good. Senior brother Jun Linzi, let's cut off their connection with the immortal realm. The level 6 true immortals laughed. This is an extremely simple and easy matter, ha ha ha. Evil hero region. Dozens of immortal clouds were wriggling violently. Finally, the immortal cloud above Wu Yu's head attacked first. Poof! A bolt of lightning as thick as a flood dragon directly struck down from the clouds. It struck at Wu Yu. The thunderbolt contained the flawless energy of immortal chi like a gem. Come on. Wu Yu roared and activated his true chi. He raised a token-shaped immortal artifact in his right hand. Bang! Thunder and lightning directly poured over Blackbird's body. Wu Li uttered a painful cry. However, he clenched his teeth and endured the pain. With a thought, the immortal weapon in his hand emitted a brilliant glow that encapsulated his figure and healed the damage that the tear had inflicted on his body. Then, poof, 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 thunderbolts struck down from every immortal cloud, aiming at Xiao Mingqiu, Dongfang Qin, Yin Lang and the others. Tribulation Transcendence. Everyone's spirits were roused and they were completely focused. They even took out their immortal artifacts. Now, dozens of mortals who were undergoing tribulation transcendence were wrapped in thunderbolts. Moreover, the thunderbolts in the immortal clouds were still attacking them. They relied on their bodies and true chi to resist the thunderbolts while activating their immortal artifacts to help. As the lightning intertwined with their bodies, glittering, resplendent immortal chi continued to pour into their bodies, transforming them and transforming their true energy. Gradually, the true chi emitted from Wu Yu and the others also gained the charm of immortal chi. Hold on. Wu Yu raised the immortal artifact high and stood up. He was bathed in thunderbolts and immortal chi. His body turned from plain to brilliant, and his mortal body began to shine. Luckily, I have this immortal artifact to support me through this tribulation. My internal organs are all being refined and reborn. Wu Yu heaved a sigh of relief. Crow heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that he was about to pass the immortal tribulation. All of the mortals on the plain were kneeling, kowtowing and kowtowing. On Jun Linzi's side. Let's do it. Jun Linzi smiled coldly. His eyes were filled with cruelty. In the vast space of the universe. My speed is much faster than before. When I move, it's almost like teleportation. I'll be home soon. Xiao Han's heart was set on returning home. His body turned into a ray of light as he headed towards his hometown. Xiao Han's heart was filled with joy. To be continued. Chapter 693. Wu Li and the other mortals were now undergoing the immortal tribulation. After returning from the second level of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure trove, they had completed the metamorphosis of their souls and developed the immortal heart. It was inevitable that they would face the immortal tribulation. Moreover, they had immortal weapons in their hands. Although they were low-quality immortal weapons, they were still genuine. Therefore, it was not difficult for them to undergo the immortal tribulation. It was definitely a daunting experience. Everything was developing in the most perfect direction. Among the immortal clouds, monstrous immortal chi was brewing. Mixed with the lightning, it bombarded the bodies of Wu Li and the others. Then Wu Li and the others forcibly withstood the lightning attacks. The immortal chi contained in the lightning seeped into the pores of Wu Li and the others, seeped into their internal organs and began to refine them. Even their bones were refined and polished until they were sharp and flawless. Their bones gradually turned into jade, and immortal runes and all kinds of characters were carved on them. In fact, even his internal organs and meridians had undergone a transformation, becoming pure and clean. Gradually, the seemingly powerful lightning attacks had become sacred medicines that nourished the bodies of Wu Li and the others. Moreover, the lightning attacks from the immortal clouds were getting weaker and weaker. Every immortal cloud had a feeling that it was about to be emptied. Roar! Wu Li rose from the ground, his whole body shining with immortal light. As his clothes fluttered, he had the demeanor of an immortal. His whole body flickered with lightning as he shouted, "Everyone work harder. We are about to succeed and pass this immortal tribulation." As he spoke, dozens of mortals all stood up. At this moment, poof, 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 the immortal clouds finally stopped emitting lightning. Inside each immortal cloud, they began to wriggle. A mirror-like scene appeared. In the mirror, an extremely vast and beautiful world appeared. There were majestic divine mountains, palaces in the sky, and countless primordial descendants there. It was magnificent and picturesque. It was billions of times better than the mortal world. It's the immortal realm. I can see the immortal realm. Wu Li was so excited that he could not control himself and knelt on the ground. He howled at the sky. I didn't expect that I, the Wu kingdom, would have such a day. Other than Wu Xiaomingchu Yen Lang Dongfang Qin, and dozens of mortals all knelt down. Hong, hong, hong. In the next moment, a space-time wormhole appeared in every single immortal cloud and slowly descended. It was about to descend upon this group of mortals and transport them to the immortal world. In all directions. The multicolored light shone brilliantly. Ascension. He was about to ascend and become an immortal. All the mortals in the plane fell to their knees. Touched. Shocking. Shocking. Tears streamed down his cheeks. In a city near the Yaoxia region, Jun Linzi and the other high-level immortals were standing on the mountain. Ha 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 ha, how naive. These guys must be going crazy right now, right? Jun Linzi let out a sharp mocking laugh. These lowly mortals think that their lives have reached the most intense moment, that their chickens and dogs are about to ascend to heaven. Ah, really? In reality, it's the exact opposite. This will be their most miserable, most painful, most despairing moment. Cut off the connection between these immortals and the immortal realm, and make them fail at the last step. As soon as he finished speaking, Jun Linzi waved his right hand, and a space-time ripple suddenly appeared. With the speed of teleportation, it directly slashed at the Yaoxia region. Whoosh, 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 a large group of level 6 true immortals standing next to Jun Linzi created space-time ripples. Yaoxia region. A space-time wormhole appeared in every immortal cloud, and descended upon Wu Li and the others. Like ropes, they pulled Wu Li and the others into the air and floated toward the immortal clouds. Finally, Wu Li and Xiaomingchu looked at each other and smiled. Right now, all of their bodies were emitting gemstone-like radiance. They were imposing and outstanding. Their mortal bodies had already transformed into immortal bodies. Haha, I think junior brother Xiaohan will come up to meet us soon. After we become immortals, we must try our best to help other talented mortals in our plane. Dong Fangqin laughed. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. Clang, 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 waves of spacetime ripples directly slashed at the spacetime wormhole that was guiding Wu Li and the others to ascend. Puff, 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 puff. The spacetime wormhole was directly cut off by waves of terrifying and mysterious power. The immortal clouds disappeared one by one. Just like that, Wu Li and the others were greatly shocked. The jade-colored treasure light emitted from their bodies suddenly dimmed, and they didn't even have time to react. Puff, puff, puff. Blood spurted from their mouths, their faces were as pale as paper, and their bodies directly fell down. The Yaoxia region, which was originally full of strange phenomena, instantly became as still as water, and all the strange phenomena disappeared without a trace. Ah! Many Yaoxia who were watching the ceremony below had no idea what had happened. A few Yaoxia who saw the opportunity quickly released their true qi and wrapped Wu Li and the others who had fallen down. What's going on? Elders? Sect leader Wu? Master Yen Lang? What's going on? On Jun Linzi's side. Ha ha ha. A large group of immortals looked at each other and laughed wildly. Alright, these guys are now suffering from the backlash of the laws of heaven and earth. Although they won't die. But they will be crippled for life. Ah. Yes. This is just a small interlude. Alright, let's all disperse. Jun Linzi waved his hand. This matter has come to an end. There's no need to pay any more attention to it. Let's hide our auras and continue to wait. Let's wait for Xiaohan to return. 3 days later. Yaoxia region. The entire Yaoxia region was completely bathed in an extremely sad atmosphere. When Wu Yi and the others were going through their tribulations, something suddenly happened. Now, all of the mortals were lying on their sickbeds. Although they were still breathing, they were unable to move. Although they were still breathing, they had fallen into a deep coma and could not wake up. All the people in this dimension who were good at the medicine Tao came to treat them. However, they could not find the cause of Wu Li and the others' illnesses. They could not do anything at all. On the top floor of the Yaoxia Pagoda, dozens of jade beds were lined up. Wu Li, Xiao Mingqiu, Fang Ling, and the others were lying on them. All of them had their eyes closed and their faces as pale as paper. If it were not for their intermittent breathing, they would really be no different from the dead. What should we do? Why did things suddenly take a turn for the worse? The elites of our dimension were just one step away from becoming immortals. Why did they suddenly fail? And now all of them are extremely weak. And there's no cure. This? Extreme joy begets sorrow. If sect leader Wu and the others can't wake up, our dimension will go from prosperity to decline. No. We must find a way to save sect leader Wu and the others. Leader Xiaohan. In the current situation, I'm afraid only leader Xiaohan can use his heaven-defying means to bring the dead back to life. I wonder where leader Xiaohan is now. In the chivalrous man domain, countless chivalrous men began to discuss. Now they all felt powerless. Deep in their hearts, they were extremely eager for Xiaohan to return to the dimension immediately. Turning the tide. On the 7th day of Wu Li and the others' coma. Now, not only the Yaoxia region, even the entire dimension fell into a state of panic and despair. It was simply a wailing wilderness. On the 15th day of Wu Li and the others' coma. Such a huge dimension was simply lifeless. Just when Xiaohan's dimension fell into a state of complete despair. Swoosh! At this moment, Xiaohan's body was completely like a flowing light, shuttling through the universe space. Xiaohan was eager to return. I want to return to the dimension immediately. I have a hunch that after the tempering, the sect leader and the others will be able to usher in their immortal tribulation soon. I want to see them before they succeed and celebrate with them. Xiaohan flew day and night to go home. Finally, a dimension with green mountains and clear waters first appeared in the scanning range of Xiaohan's soul and spiritual fluctuations. I'm home. My spiritual fluctuations have already seen my hometown. Ah! Xiaohan fell into a state of ecstasy. Then, his figure speed suddenly accelerated. Swoosh! With a flash of flowing light, almost teleporting, Xiaohan had already set foot on the dimension. At present, Xiaohan was in a piece of green land in the great wilderness. Awesome! Xiaohan closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and savored the smell of his hometown. The feeling of a wanderer returning to his hometown became stronger and stronger. I've been away for a long time and I'm finally home. Go straight to the Yaoxia Tower. Xiaohan did not stay, and his figure flickered like a flowing light. However, Xiaohan also concealed his entire aura. He was very low-key and did not show off at all. I'll go to the Yaoxia Tower first, then return to the Pure Cloud sect to reunite with my wife and son. Xiaohan was very happy. However, on the way to the Yaoxia Tower, Xiaohan also smelled something wrong. What's going on? What happened to the dimension? There's a sense of desolation and dilapidation everywhere. Even the air exudes an ominous feeling. It's as if the dimension has just suffered a catastrophe. Could it be that people from other dimensions have attacked my dimension? Suddenly, Xiaohan's expression was solemn. Is there an immortal who wants to take revenge on me because he's jealous of my opportunity in the invincible Saber Master's treasure? So he wants to take revenge on my dimension? The more Xiaohan thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. Return to the Yaoxia Tower immediately. Xiaohan's figure speed was even faster. Not long after, the Yaoxia domain appeared in Xiaohan's vision. To be continued? Chapter 694. Xiaohan hurried and finally arrived at the Devil Hero domain. Along the way, Xiaohan felt that something was wrong. It was very strange. It was very desolate along the way and sad songs could be heard everywhere. The passers-by were all frowning. This was a big problem. One must know that because of Xiaohan's heaven-defying rise, many elites of the Crow Army and the Yaoxia Pagoda had ascended. This plane had long been reorganized and was almost the #1 plane in the mortal world. In this plane there should be birds and flowers everywhere, and people should be smiling happily. There would definitely not be such a desolate scene. People were panicking. Something big must have happened. Xiaohan flew directly into the Devil Hero Pagoda. Inside the Devil Hero Pagoda, Leader Xiaohan is back. We're saved. Our plane is saved. That's great. We've survived a desperate situation. In the Devil Hero Pagoda, countless devil heroes burst into thunderous roars after seeing Xiaohan. The devil heroes all looked as if they had been pardoned by the emperor, as if they had survived a disaster. What's going on? Where are the elders of the Devil Hero Pagoda? Where are Sect Master Wu and eldest senior brother Xiao Mingqiu of the Pure Cloud Sect? Xiaohan asked directly. Leader Xiaohan, something happened. Something big has happened. An eloquent swordsman said concisely. Leader Xiaohan, the elders, Sect Master Wu, Master Yen Lang, and the others followed you to explore Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. After returning, they comprehended the immortal fate and cultivated in seclusion, seeking to ascend. Everything was extremely smooth. Half a month ago, the elders, Sect Master Wu, and the others welcomed the immortal tribulation. They had immortal artifacts in their hands. The tribulation was extremely successful. They had already opened the passage to the immortal realm. They were about to ascend. Ha! Xiaohan's eyes focused and he hurriedly said, "What happened then?" At the critical moment, suddenly, there seemed to be a mysterious power that suddenly appeared and cut off the connection between the elders and Sect Master Wu and the others. Instantly, the elders, Sect Master Wu, and the others fell to the mortal world. Fallen to the mortal world? Xiaohan raised his eyebrows. That's right. Right now, Elder, Sect Leader Wu, and the others are in a deep slumber. Their breathing is extremely weak. There's no medicine that can cure them. The demons lowered their heads sadly. What? Xiaohan jumped up in shock. On the top floor of the Yaoxia Pagoda, Xiaohan finally saw dozens of people lined up on the jade bed. Sect leader. Eldest senior brother, Xiaohan cried out in shock. He quickly snatched it over. Wu Yu and the others had their eyes tightly shut, and their faces were as pale as dead people. Her skin was cold to the touch, and at first glance, it seemed to be completely lifeless. What's going on? Xiaohan was enraged. The power of the soul and mind. When it entered the bodies of Wu Yu and the others, it discovered that their bodies were like pools of stagnant water. No chance of survival. He only has one breath left? Xiaohan was dejected. Leader Xiaohan, don't be impatient. Calm down. Some of the experienced and prudent demons beside him hurriedly consoled him. Right now, the most important thing is to figure out what exactly happened to Elder Wu and Sect Master Wu. Mo Wuji muttered to himself. Quiet. I can't panic. At this time I can't panic. Xiaohan kept reminding himself in his heart. After taking a few deep breaths, the solid mind power star in his sea of consciousness squirmed a few times, emitting waves of cool and carefree concept that invaded Xiaohan's lungs, causing Xiaohan to calm down his furious thoughts. Could it be that the sect leader and the others did not pass through the immortal tribulation at the critical moment of their ascension and failed, resulting in the current situation? Xiaohan began to think, but that's not right. If they failed to pass through the tribulation, they would have directly turned into ashes. It's impossible. The demons at the side all held their breaths, not daring to disturb Xiaohan's thoughts. However, although Xiaohan had quite a few fortuitous encounters, it was still the knowledge of mortals after all. It was difficult to understand what had happened to Wu Yu and the others. At this moment? That's right, it should be extremely easy to figure out this matter. A light flashed in Xiaohan's mind and with a slight thought, suddenly, boom! A strong and domineering aura descended out of nowhere. What is this? The demons standing beside Xiaohan were all frightened out of their wits by this aura. They could not help but step back as if they wanted to immediately kneel down and worship. Don't panic, Xiaohan said. In the next moment, a handsome man with an indifferent expression appeared beside Xiao Han. Why sure. This was the strongest existence among the level 7 creatures from the alternate dimension who had mastered the 100th move of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's 100 Lives Saber Dao. At this time, Bai Shirley had used the spirit turtle True Qi to conceal the aura of his entire body. Even the tail behind him was hidden, making him look like an ordinary person. However, golden light occasionally bloomed in his eyes. Even when he stood there casually, even with all his aura sealed, he still gave off a sense of oppression like that of an ancient divine mountain. This is? The demons at the side completely broke down. They did not even dare to look at Bai Shir. They subconsciously had a feeling that this guy in front of them could stir up a terrible disaster in the world at any time. He could destroy the world. This was purely a feeling. And what happened next made these demons even more dumbfounded. Master, I wonder what orders you have for summoning Bai Shir? Bai Shir actually knelt on one knee in front of Xiao Han. He kept calling Xiao Han master. Well, Bai Shir, you don't have to kneel, Xiao Han said indifferently. Thank you, master. Bai Shir immediately stood up. The demons at the side were all dumbfounded. Bai Shir, the people lying here are all my close friends. Xiao Han told Bai Shir everything that had happened. Bai Shir, your realm is very high. What do you think of this matter? Something went wrong during the heavenly tribulation? Bai Shir frowned slightly. Then, his eyes were like lightning. It directly shrouded the sleeping Wu Li and the others. In just a breath's time, Bai Shir withdrew his gaze and could not help but nod. Bai Shir, what happened? You should know the whole story, Xiao Han asked anxiously. Can my close friends and family be saved? Xiao Han knew very well that once Wu Li and the others died, they would not be able to turn the situation around. They could only live like the living dead, living a life worse than death. Then their souls would be greatly damaged. One should know that the relationship between Wu Li, Xiao Mingqiu, and the others and Xiao Han was not as simple as being from the same sect. They must have been schemed against, Bai Shir said with certainty. Schemed against? Xiao Han's gaze was as sharp as a knife, and his expression became cold. Bai Shir, what the hell is going on? Tell me in detail. Don't leave anything out. Yes, master. Bai Shir nodded slightly. Then he said, if I'm not wrong, master, your close friends had no problem crossing the immortal realm. It was a matter of time before they became immortals. However, at the crucial moment during their ascension, someone cut off their connection with the immortal realm, causing their efforts to be in vain. Not only did they not become immortals smoothly, but they also suffered from the backlash of the origin law of heaven and earth, which destroyed their vitality. What? Someone schemed against the sect master and the others. Xiao Han absolutely believed in Bai Shir's analysis. After all, a mid-level immortal emperor's foresight was not something that mortals could doubt. Hearing that Wu Li and the others had been schemed against, Xiao Han was completely enraged. If no one attacked at the crucial moment, then your close friends would have become immortals by now. Bai Shir nodded affirmatively, then said in a low voice, the person who ambushed them should be a high-level perfected immortal. Otherwise, they would not have been able to cut off the space-time wormhole leading to the immortal realm so easily. Roar. Damn it. The sect master and the senior brother's greatest hope in their lives was to become immortals. For this, they were willing to risk their lives in the invincible saber master's treasure. They had honed their will and accumulated their resources. They were about to achieve success and ascend to the heavens in a single step. Who knew that there would be a traitor who would sneak up on them, causing all their hopes and dreams to be lost? Damn it. Damn it. Xiao Han was furious. Master, please calm down, Bai Shir quickly said. Xiao Han's emotions were in turmoil, and he could not control himself. Bai Shir placed his right hand on Xiao Han's shoulder, and a warm stream of air rushed into Xiao Han's body. Xiao Han regained his composure. However, his heart was still filled with murderous intent. He wanted nothing more than to destroy everything. Moreover, Xiao Han knew that Wu Li and the others would not have offended a super expert. It must be because he had offended the interests of a certain expert, and that was why he had taken his anger out on Wu Li and the others. He had implicated the fish in the moat. It's all because of me that the sect master and the others are in trouble? Xiao Han cursed. He clenched his fists, and the veins on the back of his hands bulged like angry snakes. Bai Shir, are you saying that a high-level immortal snuck into my realm, and then plotted against the sect master and the others when they were about to ascend to the immortal realm? Xiao Han said, enunciating each word. That should be the case. Bai Shir nodded. It should be the work of an immortal. Xiao Han had calmed down, and his calmness contained a storm. It's an immortal and he's at least a level 5 perfected immortal. Bai Shi was certain. A level 5 perfected immortal? Good, very good. Xiao Han's pupils contracted. If a level 5 perfected immortal or above has descended and lurked in my realm, it means that there's at least an immortal emperor up there, and they're about to make a move against me. That's right. The heavenly demon pouch, the exquisite pagoda, the sky demon clan's clone, the monarch slayer, even immortal emperors would covet these supreme treasures. But they dare to attack my close friends and family, so what if they're immortal emperors? I, Xiao Han, don't mind fighting you. Now that he had inherited immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's Tao of the Blade, Xiao Han's state of mind was completely overflowing with dominance. Even if he knew that his opponent was a peerless immortal emperor, he was not afraid. Master, Bai Shi's eyes became sharp and filled with a kind of lawless spirit. Master, let us go. We'll definitely assist you with our lives. Immortal emperor? Kill them all the same. Alright, let's not talk about that for now. Bai Shi, do you have a way to save my close friends and family? Xiao Han asked. To be continued? Chapter 695. Bai Shi, you have the strength of an intermediate-level celestial emperor. I think you should have a way to wake up my family and friends. Xiao Han looked at Bai Shi with hope in his eyes. When the other heroes heard the words intermediate-level celestial emperor, their eyes rolled back and they fainted from fright. This. Bai Shi smiled self-deprecatingly. Master, I don't have a way to save them, but I'm proficient in medicine. Good. 87 Shi, come out. Xiao Han's mind jolted. Boom. Another violent aura descended. In the next moment, a gentle, beautiful and graceful young woman appeared beside Xiao Han. The 87th Shi had mastered the 87th move of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's 100 Lives Saber Dao. He had the terrifying combat strength of an intermediate-level celestial emperor. At this moment, the 87th Shi sealed his aura and retracted his tail. He looked like a gentle and virtuous young woman, but in the depths of his eye sockets, there were vortexes of energy that resembled a cosmic storm. Greetings, Master. The 87th Shi knelt down. There's no need for formalities. Xiao Han hurriedly waved his hand and told him what had happened to Wu Yu and the others. After a pause, Xiao Han said in a commanding tone, 87 Shi, you must do everything you can to wake up my family and friends. Master, when you were undergoing your celestial tribulation, someone ambushed you and forcibly cut off the spacetime wormhole leading to the celestial realm. You suffered a backlash from the laws of heaven and earth and lost your life. I've encountered this situation before. The 87th Shi looked at Xiao Han. How is it? Xiao Han was shocked to the core. He can be saved. The 87th king nodded with great confidence. However, after a pause, she said again. But, after they wake up, their cultivation base will be crippled. What? After they wake up, they'll only be crippled? Xiao Han was shocked. How could this be? My sect leader and the others have cultivated hard all their lives and reached the peak of the true Qi realm of mortals. Now, they have to face the tragic situation of falling to the mortal world and becoming a cripple. This. Xiao Han was filled with indignation. He could not accept this cruel reality. Master. The 87th Shi hurriedly comforted her. Master, you don't have to be like this. There's a special plant in the celestial world. If you can find this special immortal herb, you'll be able to restore the cultivation of your close friends and family to their previous state. Not only that, but they'll also be reborn. Oh. Xiao Han shuddered. Yes, that's right. The 87th king nodded. However, this kind of special immortal herb definitely doesn't exist in the mortal world. It only grows in some special areas in the immortal world. Master, given your current cultivation base and temperament, becoming an immortal is a very difficult task. It's nothing. Bai Shi tried to comfort him. After Master becomes an immortal, he will reach the immortal world. We can help Master find the special immortal herb mentioned by the 87th generation, Bai Shi said. Now that things have come to this, we can only do so. Fortunately, things have taken a turn for the better. Xiao Han finally heaved a sigh of relief. After all, Wu Bai and the others could still be saved. After pausing for a moment, Xiao Han instructed again. Let's do it this way. 87th generation, please wake up my close friends first. Understood, the 87th king said respectfully. Master, please give me 7 days. Okay. Xiaohan nodded. Then he left this secret room to the 87th generation and let him carefully treat them. Then Xiaohan left the secret room with Baisher. Yaoxia Tower. In a lounge on the middle floor. Xiaohan sat on a wooden chair and Baisher stood behind him. Master. A cruel killing intent flashed in Baisher's eyes. Now it's time to find those immortals who are hiding in this plane and secretly causing trouble. Kill them directly. The corner of Xiaohan's mouth also pulled into a cruel smile. If it's against me, Xiaohan, it's nothing but to secretly attack my sect master and the others. This has already touched my bottom line. True immortals above level 5? This time I want them to come here but not return. Ah. I can kill immortals, I'm so happy. Baisher stuck out his tongue and licked his lips. Master, what should I do? Xiaohan rubbed his temples with both hands. It seems that those hidden immortals have come to this plane a long time ago. They have been waiting for me to come back and capture me in one fell swoop. Well, I'll release my life aura now and let them know that I, Xiaohan, have returned. Then I'll search for them with my soul and mental strength and find them. Everything is up to you, Master, Baisher said, eager to make a move. Xiaohan and Baisher floated in the sky outside the Yaoxia Tower, looking down at the earth. At this moment, Xiaohan's whole body was flowing with the spirit turtle True Qi, perfectly concealing his aura. In fact, Xiaohan had returned to this plane for some time, but Jun Linzi and the others had not discovered it. This was because Xiaohan had perfectly concealed his life aura. But now Xiaohan had dispersed the spirit turtle True Qi. His life aura, as well as the inadvertent flow of saber intent on his body, gushed out unscrupulously. Apart from the aura of the demon monarch's palm on his left arm, Xiaohan had completely unleashed his aura. Although Xiaohan was only a mortal at the moment, he had encountered too many fortuitous encounters. In addition, he had learned the 100 Lives Saber Dao. Therefore his aura was extremely strong. It even vaguely gave off a feeling that he could stand up to immortals. Of course, this only meant that Xiaohan's aura could stand up to low-level immortals. However, if Xiaohan really used the 100 Lives Saber Dao, he could definitely kill level 6 or level 7 true immortals. In a city not far from the Yaoxia domain. In a manner. Jun Linzi and the 80 level 6 true immortals he led were chatting casually. Ha! This is interesting. There are dozens of mortals in this plane. They're going through the heavenly tribulation at the same time to become immortals. In fact, this is a rare sight. Generally speaking, in a mortal plane, only a few people have ascended to immortality since ancient times. But in this plane, there are dozens of them all at once. But they're just unlucky that they can't ascend. Now they're all crippled. I'm afraid that Xiaohan will vomit blood from anger when he returns and sees this situation. Ah. This mortal plane has already been flourished by that bastard Xiaohan. But now haha, it's in decline. This plane is in decline. Xiaohan must be dealt with ruthlessly. Injuring some mortals in his plane who are about to become immortals is only taking some interest. When Xiaohan returns, we'll deal with him slowly. A vicious glint flashed through Jun Linzi's eyes. Xiaohan, a lowly mortal. How dare you make us wait in this mortal plane for so long? You've waited for so long. Damn it. Once I get my hands on you, I'll make you wish you were dead. Right at this moment. Jun Linzi's expression froze. He shot to his feet and clawed at the air with his right hand. Xiaohan's life aura. That's right. Jun Linzi roared. Xiaohan's life aura was provided to the First Heaven Society by some level 2 true immortals who went to the lower world after returning to the immortal realm. Yes, that's right. It's Xiaohan's soul aura. Good. Ah. He's back. Ah. Let's go. Senior brother Jun Linzi, let's go capture Xiaohan right now. Let's go. A group of immortals soared into the sky and flew toward the Devil Hero territory. In the air above the Devil Hero pagoda, Xiaohan and Baisher were floating in the air. At this moment, Xiaohan's soul energy spread out and covered the entire plane like a fishing net. He searched every inch of the plane. At this moment, he really is a high-level true immortal. Finally, Xiaohan noticed Jun Linzi and the others who were charging at him. Although Jun Linzi and the other immortals had concealed their auras with special celestial artifacts, Xiaohan could still roughly figure out the situation of these immortals with his powerful soul perception. 81 true immortals in total. One of them is a level 7 true immortal with extremely powerful attack power. There are also 80 level 6 true immortals. Xiaohan murmured. It seems that some immortal emperors in the immortal realm have put in a lot of effort to deal with me. If the level 6 and level 7 true immortals had come when Jianghu and the other immortals were in the lower world, Xiaohan could only wait for death. But now, Bai Shi laughed like a noisy owl, as if he had seen the funniest thing in the world. Level 6 and level 7 true immortals. How dare they come here to die? Master, I can crush this group of immortals with one finger. Let me do it for you, master. Wait? Xiaohan held back his laughter. Bai Shi, even the immortal emperors in the upper world don't know who you are. The 100 of you are comparable to mid-level immortal emperors. You are the secret trump card of Absolute Saber's master. Now hide yourself and don't expose yourself. When you ascend to the immortal realm, that will be the best time for you to make your appearance. A bunch of trash doesn't need you to slaughter them. Alright master, just be careful. Bai Shi accepted the order. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a ray of light and returned to Xiaohan's consciousness. Xiaohan was alone and empty-handed. He stood there with a smile on his face. Soon, a tidal wave of immortal qi approached from afar, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Xiaohan. A disdainful shout followed. The next moment, a large group of immortals had surrounded Xiaohan. These immortals all used special immortal artifacts to conceal their auras, but the auras they released were enough to shatter any mortal's heart and soul. However, Xiaohan was fearless. He looked at Jun Linzi and the other immortals with a smile. Finally. Very, very good. Xiaohan, don't play tricks. Jun Linzi stepped forward, the expression on his face as if he was in control of everything. Puny mortal. Xiaohan glanced at Jun Linzi. Oh, Xiaohan, I can see that you do have some bearing. However, I can tell you now that you have no chance of resisting. You've probably killed immortals before, but those level 2 true immortals aren't worth mentioning, Jun Linzi said, flicking his fingernails. Xiaohan, treasures are the bane of your existence. Now hand over everything you've obtained from Immortal Emperor Absolute Saber's treasure. Also, you should have some secrets as well. Hand them all over, then kneel and beg. Screw you. Before Jun Linzi could finish, Xiaohan spat on the ground and laughed. To be continued? Chapter 696. Finally, Xiaohan encountered the high-level perfected immortals who had harmed Wu Li and the others. Led by Jun Linzi, a level 7 perfected immortal, 80 level 6 perfected immortals surrounded Xiaohan. When they looked at Xiaohan, it was as if they were looking at a lowly ant, an ant that posed no threat to them at all. But then again it made sense. Mortals and immortals were two different life structures. Even when level 2 perfected immortals like Jianghu and Heaven Emperor descended to the mortal world, they could suppress all living beings and kill them. But these level 6 and level 7 perfected immortals could kill level 2 perfected immortals like Jianghu with a glance. When they reached the mortal world, they could destroy countless mortal planes with a single thought. Therefore, theoretically speaking, no matter how many fortuitous encounters Xiaohan had, how heaven-defying he was, or what kind of immortal artifact he controlled, he couldn't defeat level 6 or level 7 perfected immortals. It was against the natural order of things. Besides, mortals couldn't unleash 1% of an immortal artifact's power. There was no reason for Jun Linzi to believe that Xiaohan could do anything to him. Xiaohan couldn't take it anymore. He yelled at the immortals. Jun Linzi and the other immortals weren't enraged at first. Then they were stunned. They never thought that they would be scolded by a mortal in their lives. To them, this was something extremely new. Oh, Xiaohan, you dare insult us? Jun Linzi was speechless. TSK, unbelievable. He's so insignificant that he's at our mercy like an animal. How dare he insult us? Jun Linzi looked at Xiaohan curiously. He scanned him over and over again. It was as if he wanted to see through every inch of Xiaohan's body. His qi and blood are extremely vigorous. There's even the charm of an immortal body in his body. His soul and true qi haven't transformed into immortals yet. Strictly speaking, he's still immortal, but his body is already an immortal body. Oh, immortal body. That's rare. No wonder you dared to challenge us. Oh, right, you seem to have mastered an incredible saber Dao. Yes, to be fair, this is the limit of what mortals can achieve. He's invincible in the mortal world and doesn't even fear low-level immortals. But he paused for a moment. Jun Linzi said unhurriedly, Xiaohan, I am a level 7 true immortal. Level 7 true immortal, do you understand? Moreover, I am a sword immortal with the strongest attack power among the level 7 true immortals. Ah. Xiao Han, you must have defeated many level 2 true immortals. However, in my eyes, level 2 true immortals, are trash. Trash. For example, a talented level 2 true immortal like junior brother Jiao Lanzi, I can crush thousands or tens of thousands of them with a flip of my palm. Xiao Han, do you understand now? Have you figured out the situation? Ha, idiot. Rats will always be rats. A mouse should play its part as a mouse. You still want to grow wings? Big brother Jun Linzi, don't waste your breath on this fellow. Take him away and destroy this plane. The level 6 true immortals began to clamor. At this moment, the countless chivalrous heroes and martial artists in the Wuxia domain were extremely quiet. They had all seen their plane's leader, Xiao Han, facing off against a group of high-level immortals in the sky. Xiao Han's expression did not change and he remained calm and fearless. This caused the blood in the bodies of all the mortals in Xiao Han's dimension to start boiling. They could not wait to rush up and fight alongside Xiao Han. However, the mortals were also worried about their leader, Xiao Han. After all, the opponents were a large group of high-level immortals who could suppress all living beings. The doors and windows of the Wuxia Tower were tightly shut. Many chivalrous heroes watched from afar, their hearts sweating. Xiao Han sorted out his emotions and said indifferently, "The mortals of my plane are about to undergo their immortal tribulations and ascend to become immortals. At the critical moment, it's you who sabotaged their tribulations and caused them to fall into a deep sleep. Am I right?" "Of course." A level 6 true immortal roared as he pointed his finger at Xiao Han and cursed. "Xiao Han, don't put on an act in front of us. They're just some mortals. It's fine if we kill them. What do you dare to do? We can even slaughter all the living beings in your plane, let alone stop those animals from undergoing their tribulations. In this world, the strong preys on the weak." "The strong preys on the weak? Fine. You'll be the first to die." Finally, Xiao Han could no longer control himself. He slashed with his right hand. Puchi, a dazzling saber light flashed in the sky. The trajectory of this saber strike was in line with the heavenly Tao, as if it had forcibly cut open the chaos. This was a saber strike of creation. It was also a saber strike of destruction. The 11th move of the 100 Lives Saber Tao. It specialized in beheading. The next moment, the immortal's head flew into the sky, and blood spurted out from his neck. Moreover, the saber energy seeped into his body, causing his life force to wither and wither. The saber strike was too fast. It was so fast that Jun Linzi and the other immortals had no time to stop it. Moreover, the immortal who had been killed didn't react until his head flew into the sky. His eyes widened and bulged out of their sockets, and a voice came out of his mouth. "Go, how? How is this possible? I seem to have been killed by a mortal. How is this possible? Am I dreaming? I'm a level 6 true immortal. I'm quite famous in the immortal realm. In the Chinese society I've been steady, and I've even been praised by the sect leader. Why would I die here? Instantly killed by a mortal." Boom. The next moment, the immortal's head and body were minced into powder by the saber energy. Dead. He had killed a level 6 true immortal in an instant. Xiao Han didn't use any energy in this saber strike. He merely relied on the profound nature of the saber technique to kill a level 6 true immortal. This is the first time I've fought a real enemy since I learned the 100 Lives Saber Tao. Previously in the purple trial space, I practiced saber techniques with a level 7 creature from an alternate dimension. It wasn't a fight. I studied the saber Tao over and over again. I imitated it again and again until I obtained the power to refine it and feed it back to the saber Tao. Now I understand how powerful Master's 100 Lives Saber Tao is. Xiao Han's mind raced. Then, the saber energy around him trembled slightly. Xiao Han looked at the group of shocked immortals in front of him. For a moment he forgot all about honor and humiliation. Meanwhile, Jun Linzi and the other immortals. They looked like they had completely broken down. Calling them clay statues or wood carvings wasn't enough to describe their shock. The immortal's death was as unreal as a dream. It was as terrifying as a nightmare. Even Jun Linzi couldn't kill a level 6 true immortal with a single strike. Xiao Han. You killed an immortal. You're treacherous. Finally, Jun Linzi let out a roar that was filled with endless terror. His sword energy surged like a tide, and his immortal chi surged. His aura was unleashed bit by bit, causing the surrounding space to shatter into pieces. There's something strange about this Xiao Han. Let's attack him together. Jun Linzi was furious. However, the situation was still in the hands of the immortals. Even though they had lost one immortal, there were still 80 immortals left. No matter how strong Xiao Han was, he wouldn't be able to defeat them all if they attacked him together. That was right. A level 7 true immortal and 79 level 6 true immortals could kill a level 8 or even level 9 true immortal. What Xiao Han had shown just now was the power of his saber Dao. In terms of defense, he might not be able to withstand the instantaneous attack of dozens of high-level true immortals. The 79 level 6 true immortals didn't dare to be careless anymore. They directly released their auras. The auras of dozens of immortals were unleashed, causing cracks to appear in the space around them. Even the entire plane was moving. The Earth's crust was under heavy pressure and was about to change. The oceans were boiling, the mountains were moving, and the continents were about to break. The entire plane was in danger. Xiao Han, accept your punishment. If you had handed over the Dharma treasure and your secret, you could have gone to the immortal realm with us. As long as you begged, you could have lived. But now you've committed a heinous crime. Only death awaits you. You've killed the immortals of the Tianyi Palace. From now on, you have nowhere to run. Jun Linzi cried as if he had lost his parents. Forget it. It's all over. Xiao Han's expression was extremely indifferent. Just then Xiao Han's soul sense lit up. Whoosh, 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 countless beams of light shot out from Xiao Han's head. Each beam of light carried a strong aura of the ocean. Then each beam of light transformed into a creature with a powerful aura. Hundreds of strange creatures surrounded the 80 immortals, including Jun Linzi. They were humanoid creatures wearing azure armor. As soon as they appeared, a vast ocean appeared behind them. A group of sharks fought for supremacy and a giant whale swallowed water. Level 6 creatures from an alternate dimension. Marine creatures. Their combat strength was equivalent to a level 7 true immortal. Xiao Han had as many as 10,876 marine creatures like them. In an instant, 876 marine creatures appeared. Although they had covered their auras with the spirit turtle True Qi, the pressure of high-level creatures still enveloped them. Caught, the 80 immortals' auras were forcibly forced back. They were scared out of their wits as if they had seen a ghost. Master. All the marine creatures dropped to one knee before Xiao Han. What's going on? Jun Linzi was scared out of his wits and a chill ran down his spine. These fellows, every single one of them, their battle prowess is on par with mine, but now nearly 1,000 of them have suddenly appeared, and they even called Xiao Han. Xiao Han, Master, should we tear these guys apart? A cruel glint appeared in the eyes of the marine creatures as they approached the immortals step by step. Oppressive aura. 876 against 80. The disparity in numbers was too great. No, don't come over. Some level 6 true immortals screamed. Stop. What are you doing? Stop. Hang a bunch of idiots. Xiao Han waved his hand, gesturing for the marine creatures not to kill them for now. Now all of you immortals kneel down and beg for my forgiveness. If I'm in a good mood, I might spare your lives. Xiao Han flicked his fingernails and said lightly. Do you hear me? Kneel down and beg for mercy. Let's see if you can escape death. Otherwise, I'll blast you to pieces. To be continued? Chapter 697. Xiao Han couldn't be bothered to fight the immortals anymore. He released a group of marine creatures and surrounded them. With nearly 1,000 sea creatures, it would only take about 3 breaths of time to kill the immortals. No, 1 breath would be enough. Xiao Han was the one who could decide the life and death of these immortals. He had an air of arrogance about him as he said indifferently, "Kneel all of you." In the beginning it was Jun Linzi who had asked Xiao Han to kneel. But now it was Xiao Han who had ordered Jun Linzi and the other immortals to kneel. What an eye for an eye. This. Jun Linzi and the other immortals looked at each other with sinister expressions. Their eyes were filled with hatred and resentment, but more than anything there was fear. The situation was not in their favor. Jun Linzi and the other immortals weren't fools. If they fought now, they would be instantly annihilated by enemies 10 times their size. Even if they used all their magic treasures and immortal artifacts, it wouldn't help. Moreover, under the influence of the aura, the immortals didn't dare to move recklessly, let alone use their movement techniques to escape. They knew that the slightest movement or even the slightest breath, would cause them to be surrounded. It was a matter of life and death. Xiaohan. You win. You win. Finally, Jun Linzi gave in. I really didn't expect you to have such a trump card. TSK? Jun Linzi glanced around. You have close to 1,000 subordinates who are comparable to level 7 true immortals. What a big move. Indeed, Xiaohan, we have underestimated you. Everyone has underestimated you. You've arrived in the world of immortals. You can casually form a mid-level sect. There's no problem. Jun Linzi felt bitter as well. Yes, Xiaohan had such a foundation. Even in the First Heaven Society, the number 1 sect in the world of immortals, a level 7 true immortal was definitely a core force. The First Heaven Society had an immortal emperor, as well as level 8 and level 9 true immortals, but they were the minority. Most of them were level 5, level 6 and level 7 true immortals. They were the pillars of the sect. The First Heaven Society only had about 2,000 level 7 true immortals. And now, Xiaohan was leading close to 1,000 level 7 true immortals to the immortal plane to form a group of intermediate immortals. Taking in lower-level true immortals was no problem at all. What was even more frightening was that Xiaohan still controlled the resources. The treasures of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. Millions of treasures. We were wrong. Jun Linzi shook his head helplessly. Xiaohan, you're not a fish on the chopping block. Forget it, let's stop here. This matter. He's not someone that I, Jun Linzi, can control anymore. Now Xiaohan. I, Jun Linzi, will lead my junior brothers back to the sect. Whatever happens after that, I, Jun Linzi, won't interfere. Hearing Jun Linzi's words, Xiaohan seemed to have heard the funniest thing in the world. Ha 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 ha. This is truly? Ha 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 ha. Xiaohan, what are you laughing at? Jun Linzi was slightly displeased. Ha ha. Dare I ask, did you immortals grow up eating shit? Xiaohan said with an incredulous expression. Now that the situation is firmly under my control, I can kill you like pigs and dogs, but you're telling me to stop? You want to return to the world of immortals in one piece? That's it? Are you telling me that you're going to let the life force of my sect leader and the others dissipate just like that? Xiaohan. Don't push your luck. Jun Linzi's face was completely red. What do you want? I already said kneel, Xiaohan said indifferently. Don't you understand? Kneel and beg for mercy. Let's see if you can live. What? You really want us to kneel? The immortals growled. Xiaohan. Don't be so naive. You want us to kneel? Don't you know who we are? We're all immortals of the First Heaven Society. Do you know the First Heaven Society? The number 1 sect in the world of immortals. Our sect leader is an immortal emperor. You've offended the First Heaven Society. Even if you escape the 3 realms, you'll be reduced to ashes. How dare you be so aggressive? Xiaohan, don't make a mistake. Yes, Xiaohan, don't think that you have a group of subordinates whose combat power is comparable to that of a level 7 true immortal. But in front of the First Heaven Society, such a trump card is like throwing an egg against a stone. Kneel? Xiaohan said harshly. Or die. This time it was the immortal's turn to laugh. A level 6 true immortal stepped forward. You really dare to kill us? Don't be ridiculous. You've already killed a junior fellow apprentice of the Tianyi Palace. However, for this matter, if you personally apologize to our sect leader and pay compensation, he might let you go. But do you dare to kill all of us? In this way, the entire First Heaven Society will regard you as their mortal enemy. They won't stop until one of them dies. I don't believe you don't know this. Nonsense. You want to kill us all? Come on. Kill them. Do it. I'd like to see. Before his voice died away, bam. Dozens of sea creatures attacked at the same time, and a special air current burst out. In an instant, the arrogant immortal exploded. You think I don't dare to kill you? Xiaohan's face was ferocious. Now I'll get back some interest for our sect leader. Kill. Xiaohan gave the order. A crazy, one-sided massacre had begun. Nearly 1,000 sea creatures unleashed their attacks to kill the immortals. Bam, 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 bam. The immortals' bodies kept exploding like fireworks, and then they instantly withered. Xiaohan showed no mercy at all. No, don't kill us. The immortals who hadn't been killed yet were terrified out of their wits. They wailed and knelt down, losing all of their dignity. They kowtowed as if they were pounding garlic. Xiaohan, don't kill us. Order your people to stop. Jun Linzi knelt down and kept kowtowing. I was wrong. Xiao Han. I know I was wrong. Please don't kill me. I'm willing to atone for my sins. Let me go back to the immortal realm. I'm willing to use my wealth to atone for my sins. I'm willing to give you all my wealth. Please forgive me. Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive. Xiao Han waved his hand casually. Bow, bow, bow. All the immortals, including Jun Linzi, they were all killed by Xiao Han's sea creatures. Xiao Han, you dare to commit such a heinous crime. How dare you kill us? You've become the mortal enemy of the Tianyi Palace. Xiao Han, we won't let you go even if we become ghosts. We'll tangle with you forever. Before these immortals died, their resentment was so strong that they burst out a deep curse. A bunch of scum. Xiao Han rolled up his storage ring and put away all the broken bodies of the immortals. Even the remnant thoughts were absorbed, leaving not a single drop behind. The Yaoxiao Pagoda. The 87th was still treating Wu Yu and the others. On the other hand, Xiao Han and Bai Shi were having tea in a resting room. Ah, Master, you're so happy. You killed those arrogant ants. Bai Shi laughed strangely. Oh, I heard that they're disciples of the Tianyi Palace. It seems that Brother Jialan is also from the Tianyi Palace. Xiao Han took a sip of tea. The Tianyi Palace? The #1 sect in the immortal realm? Yes, Master. The owner of the invincible saber also mentioned this Tianyi Palace. It's indeed powerful and seems to have a grudge against the owner of the invincible saber. But Master, you don't need to worry at all. You've inherited the mantle of the owner of the invincible saber. With our help, you don't need to be afraid of the Tianyi Palace at all. If worst comes to worst, we can directly destroy this sect when we arrive in the immortal realm. I'm not afraid. Xiao Han gently put down the teacup. But I also need to cultivate in seclusion for a while. Cultivate well. After a pause, Xiao Han seemed to have made a decision and stood up. When the sect master and the others wake up, I'll return to the Pure Cloud sect and reunite with my wife and children. Then I'll quickly enter the Yaoxiao Pagoda to cultivate in seclusion. I'll break through to the immortal realm. Besides, I'll also feed the immortal corpses I've collected during this period of time to the palm of the Demon Emperor in my left arm. Although I'm not afraid of the Tianyi Palace, I still have to pay attention to it. In the immortal realm. In the Tianyi Palace. In the Heavenly Palace. In the palace. The leader of the Tianyi Palace, an immortal emperor, was talking with several other immortal emperors. Jun Linzi is the backbone of the Tianyi Palace. He's capable and resourceful. Besides, he's also a sword immortal with extremely strong attack power. If he leads 80 level 6 genuine immortals to the mortal realm, he can easily destroy the entire mortal realm, let alone capture Xiao Han. The leader of the Tianyi Palace said with a smile. Now, what I'm most worried about is that Xiao Han will be buried in the treasures of the invincible saber. As long as Xiao Han can take out those magic treasures, Jun Linzi will almost certainly get them. Well, that's true. He's just immortal. Alas, we're actually worried about immortal. It's really ridiculous. Ha! Yes, it's ridiculous. The few immortal emperors burst out laughing. Right at this moment. What? The leader of the Tianyi Palace suddenly let out a shrill scream of disbelief. What's going on? Jun Linzi and the disciples he led to the mortal realm, all died. What's going on? The leader of the Tianyi Palace was completely stunned. Then, boom, 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 boom. The entire area where the Tianyi Palace was located was filled with fierce wind and lightning. The lightning, which looked like flood dragons, tore the void apart. When the immortal emperor was angry, the weather suddenly changed. Xiao Han, you're good. 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 That's great. I've underestimated you. Never would I have thought that a mere mortal would actually be able to kill a group of elites under this emperor. Good. Xiao Han. I'll pay attention to you. I swear I'll slaughter your whole family. I'll make you wish you were dead. Roar. In the mortal realm. In the Yaoxia region. In the Yaoxia Tower. Just a few days later, there was good news from the 87th generation. She had saved Wu Yu and the others. To be continued. Chapter 698. Xiao Han brought Bai Shi with him as he anxiously rushed into the secret chamber. The 87th came up and looked at Xiao Han. Master, I'm glad to have done you. 87th, you've worked hard. After I've completely refined and controlled the treasures in Master Invincible Blade's treasure, I'll give you a few high-quality magic treasures, Xiao Han said. The 87th was flattered. Thank you, master. Soon, Xiao Han rushed into the secret chamber and saw Wului and the others who had woken up. At this moment, under the 87th's treatment, Wului and the others had indeed woken up. However, each and every one of them was still pale as paper, their breathing was weak and their eyes were blurry with a sleepy smell. Xiao Han saw this and felt bitter in his heart. His soul and mind immediately shrouded out and penetrated into the bodies of Wului and the others. Xiao Han found that whether it was Wului, Xiao Mingqiu, Yan Lang, or the elders of the Demon Hero Tower, the ancient giants, or the ancient giants, at this moment their bodies were empty without the slightest bit of true qi. In their dantian, the place where true qi was stored was now dry and shriveled, and even emitted a rotten aura. Their meridians were also dry, and their qi and blood were exhausted. They were worse than ordinary people. This sect master and the others are all crippled. Detestable. Everything is the work of the Tianyi faction. Detestable. Xiao Han's heart surged with infinite anger and grief. Xiao Han, you're back? Good. That's great. Wului whispered. His eyes were full of hope when he looked at Xiao Han. He didn't seem to care about his current situation. Master. Yan Lang and the other 5 slaves from the other planes also smiled. Junior brother Xiao Han, leader Xiao Han, everyone who had woken up. They all called out to Xiao Han with hope. These people. They were once the most powerful existences in this plane. At one time they were also about to ascend to immortality, but now they had fallen to such a state. Xiao Han was very sad and he choked slightly. Good, it's good that everyone is awake. Junior brother Xiao Han, we don't know what happened either. That day when we were crossing the immortal tribulation, it seemed like we were about to succeed. However, an indescribable power suddenly severed the connection between our souls and the immortal realm. After that, Xiao Mingqiu said in a daze. Well, someone is causing trouble? Xiao Han said vaguely. However, I've already killed all of them. This is all my fault. I've attracted too much attention during this expedition. That's why some of the higher-ups in the world of immortals have become covetous of me and have sent people down. Sect leader. You've all been dragged down by me. Haha. Wu Lei laughed in a carefree manner. Xiao Han. It doesn't matter. You don't have to blame yourself. In fact, even though we weren't able to become immortals, we've all experienced it. We've experienced too many things that we weren't qualified to experience. We also know what it's like to become immortal. It's worth it. It was all worth it. Even if I die, I will have no regrets. No one blamed Xiao Han in the slightest. In fact, they didn't harbor too much resentment. They were just open-minded. At this time, the 87th came to Xiao Han's side and said in a low voice, Master, don't worry. The condition of your close friends is extremely stable. It's just that their cultivations have been crippled. However, once we reach the immortal realm and find that special immortal plant, not only will they be able to recover their cultivations, but they'll also be reborn and reach a higher level. That's all we can do. Xiao Han heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there's still a chance. Thus, Xiao Han withdrew the 87th and the 100th into the solid spirit planets in his sea of consciousness. Then, he led Wu Lei and the others away from the demon pagoda and strolled among the nearby mountains to breathe in the fresh air. Xiao Han, what do you plan to do next? Wu Lei asked as he walked side by side with Xiao Han. Xiao Han stared blankly at the distant horizon. Xiao Han, now that you've offended the #1 sect in the immortal realm, Wu Lei frowned and shook his head. This is too troublesome. Xiao Han, if you knew this would happen, you wouldn't have killed that group of immortals. Those immortals will definitely die, Xiao Han said with a smile. They've already crossed the line. Moreover, they want to steal all the secrets on me. Sooner or later, it'll be a fight to the death. Xiao Han paused for a moment before continuing. Sect Master, you don't have to worry about me. This time, I have enough strength and secrets to fight against any sect in the immortal realm. I don't care about the insignificant First Heaven Society. Xiao Han, you? Wu Lei stared at Xiao Han. He could sense the breathtaking confidence and courage in Xiao Han's eyes. If it were any other mortal, saying that they were not afraid of the most powerful sect in the immortal realm would be a fool's dream. However, Xiao Han was different. Xiao Han said these words casually, but they showed his incomparable conviction. There was no doubt that they could only choose to trust him. I really didn't expect. Wu Lei laughed and shook his head. Who would have thought that a puny target of my sect would grow to such an extent? defying the heavens, fighting against the heavens, slaughtering immortals, and even fighting against the most powerful sect in the immortal realm? Xiao Han smiled casually and said, "Ha! Sect Master, you must be joking. I was forced by the situation. Right now, the Celestial World Celestial Sect and even other sects as well as immortal emperor-level existences are definitely targeting the disciples, brewing a storm. Therefore, time is of the essence." Huh? Wu Lei, Xiao Mingqiu and the others all looked at Xiao Han. "There's no time to waste," Xiao Han said firmly. "I'm going to cultivate in seclusion as soon as possible and break through to the immortal realm." Xiao Han paused for a moment before adding, "Now that I have to face so many powerful beings, I must become an immortal, even if it's only a level 1 true immortal. Only then will I have full confidence." Yes, once Xiao Han became an immortal, his combat strength would soar again. 1. He would be able to refine all the treasures in the immortal emperor's treasure, including those few supreme and heaven-defying treasures. 2. He had the qualifications to enter the 4th level of the immortal emperor's treasure. The 100 Lives Saber Dao was still lacking the last bit of maturity, and it was also the most exquisite part. 100 lives to 1. There was still a part of the core of the Jade Tablet in Xiao Han's body that had not been broken through. Once he entered the 4th level, he would be able to obtain the true inheritance of the immortal emperor's Saber Dao. It was not impossible to open the door to the Saber world. Moreover, Xiao Han had collected many pieces of immortal corpses and used them to feed the demon emperor's left arm, which also greatly increased his demon power. Saber Dao, demon power, all kinds of demon techniques, soul and spirit power, as well as countless slaves from other dimensions. This would be Xiao Han's capital to fight against the immortal world. Good. Xiao Han, then you should finish dealing with the mundane matters as soon as possible and go into seclusion to cultivate. Wu Lei also said seriously. Xiao Han, it shouldn't be a problem for you to become an immortal. With your temperament and tempering, breaking through the barrier between mortals and immortals is as easy as drinking water and eating. Moreover, with your current combat strength you can already kill a large number of immortals. Sect Master, Senior Brothers, let's return to the reincarnation sect first, to enjoy a few days of peace. Xiao Han decided to go home. The faces of his wife and children couldn't help but appear, causing Xiao Han's state of mind to be incomparably calm. And also incomparably intimate. Mountain Range. Xiao Han finally brought Wu Lei, Xiao Mingqiu, Dongfang Qin, Fang Ling and the rest of the people from the reincarnation sect home. Xiao Han's wives had tears in their eyes. The pain of missing each other for the past few years had all melted away in the intense embrace of Xiao Han. His son, Xiaoan, could already call him father. He was very cute. Moreover, under the nurturing of the many true Qi realm disciples of the reincarnation sect, Xiaoan, who was only a few years old, had already refined his muscles, bones, internal organs, marrow and blood extremely well. He was expected to step into the true Qi realm in his teens. Xiaoan had inherited Xiao Han's bloodline very well, and could be considered to be talented. Although he was young, he was destined to stir up the wind and clouds in the future, a great figure who controlled the universe. Xiao Han stayed with his family in the reincarnation mountain range for 3 days. Then he led the entire sect, including his relatives, to the demon pagoda. Xiao Han arranged for everyone to settle down in the demon pagoda. Then he found the best spiritual secret chamber and entered it. Seclusion. Xiao Han was going to undergo a thorough cultivation. This was a cultivation of the realm. Although Xiao Han's combat strength was heaven-defying and could kill a level 6 true immortal in an instant, in the end he was still immortal. What he wanted to break through to, the true Qi realm. Currently Xiao Han's true Qi realm was at the 7th stage of the talisman realm. After opening 70 true acupoints, his true Qi condensed into a natal talisman seal. Xiao Han's natal talisman seal was heaven-defying. In the mortal world, it was the most terrifying talisman seal. Back when Xiao Han created this natal talisman seal, he had refined the true Qi talisman 10 times, reaching a total of 117,000 refinements. This made a natal talisman seal have the power to topple mountains and overturn seas, sweeping through heaven and earth. In terms of pure true Qi power, Xiao Han had 1800,000,000,000 ding. It could be said that Xiao Han was the first in the entire mortal world when it came to the cultivation of real Qi realm. And no one had ever been able to surpass him. No one could surpass him. Now Xiao Han was going to break through to the 8th stage of the true Qi realm, the talisman array realm. Then the 9th stage of the true Qi realm, the true treasure realm. Finally he would open his heavenly eye. Perfect 10th stage of the true Qi realm. Ushering in his own immortal tribulation. While breaking through to the true Qi realm, Xiao Han took out the fragments of the immortal corpses he had accumulated from the storage ring. The Demon Emperor's palm, which had been the most restricted in the treasure and had no place to be used at all, finally recovered. The demonic power inside surged. Moreover, it emitted a monstrous vortex that absorbed the floating immortal corpses, broke them down, refined them, and turned them into demonic power. One should know that Xiao Han had killed many immortals in the preliminaries and arena battles on the second floor of the exterminating saber Immortal Emperor's treasure. Especially in the preliminaries he had killed hundreds of immortals. Therefore Xiao Han had accumulated a mountain of immortal corpses. At this moment, they were all used to feed the Demon Emperor's palm on his left arm. Immortal corpses were completely different from mortal corpses. The fragments of the immortal corpses were extremely dazzling, shining like gems. At this moment, the left-arm Demon Emperor's palm swept out and swallowed the fragments of the immortal corpses that were like gemstones. In the Demon Hero Tower. I hope Xiao Han can directly attract the immortal tribulation when he comes out of seclusion this time. Wulei and the others sat in some lounges and discussed. Now Xiao Han's seclusion had become the focus of the entire world. All the mortals were praying. The immortal world. The Tianyi Palace. The current Tianyi Palace was completely shrouded in a haze. What was originally a clear sky was now foggy and heavy. The upper echelons of the Tianyi Palace, led by the sect leader, were all furious. Jun Linzi and other high-level true immortals were originally the backbone of the Tianyi Palace, but they died after completing a mission in the lower realm. This was definitely a rare humiliation for the number one sect in the immortal world. The back mountain of the Tianyi Palace. The back mountain of the Tianyi Palace was the area where the coffins and memorial tablets of the disciples of the past generations were placed. In the Tianyi Palace, all the disciples had made soul jade slips and placed them in the back mountain. Once they died, these soul jade slips would also shatter. In this way the Tianyi Palace always knew the safety of their disciples. At this moment, it was obvious that the soul jade slips of Jun Linzi and the 80 level 6 true immortals had all shattered. It meant that they had died. Moreover, their corpses had fallen into the mortal world and could not be found to be buried in peace. Today, everyone in the Tianyi Palace was wearing mourning clothes and came to the back mountain. The atmosphere was silent, full of anger, hatred, unwillingness, and murderous intent. The sect leader of the Tianyi Palace was wearing a white robe. His eyebrows were like swords, and in his eyes, there was a terrifying scene of a planet disintegrating and exploding. Sect leader, please give us special immortal artifacts and let us go to the lower realm. We want to destroy Xiao Han's realm. We want to avenge senior brother Jun Linzi and the others. Countless disciples of the Tianyi Palace roared. Shut up all of you. The sect leader of the Tianyi Palace waved his hand. That Xiao Han was able to kill Jun Linzi and dozens of other high-level true immortals. This person has a huge secret. I underestimated him. Now we can't blindly send disciples to the lower realm. We have to figure out Xiao Han's background. After a pause, the sect leader of the Tianyi Palace looked at Jun Linzi's shattered soul jade slip and said indifferently, I will use my supreme magic to summon Jun Linzi's soul back for a short time. Within 100 breaths, I will make Jun Linzi tell us Xiao Han's secret. Tell us, what kind of trump card does Xiao Han have to be able to kill high-level true immortals so easily? To be continued? Chapter 699. The Celestial Realm. The Tianyi Palace. Jun Linzi and dozens of high-level genuine immortals died in the mortal world, which infuriated the entire Tianyi Palace. The vast area where the Tianyi Palace was located was flooded with people. Now the head of the Tianyi Palace, an immortal emperor, was trying to resurrect Jun Linzi's soul before his soul jade slip was broken. Of course, this resurrection would only last for a short period of time. It would only last for about 100 breaths. However, even so, it consumed a lot of immortal force. He had to use his powerful immortal sense to go deep into hell and find Jun Linzi's soul fragment among the countless scattered souls. At this time, an altar was set up in the back mountain of the Tianyi Palace. The head of the Tianyi Palace sat cross-legged in the middle of the altar with his eyes closed. His immortal force was rippling all over his body like waves, making a grand celestial sound. In all directions were the core disciples of the Tianyi Palace. Now all of them were silent. All of a sudden, Junlingzi. Resurrection. The head of the Tianyi Palace let out a fierce roar and opened his eyes. An extremely horrible scene appeared in the eyes of the head of the Tianyi Palace. It was the vicissitudes of reincarnation, destruction and creation, the Milky Way in heaven and earth. Swish. The next moment, the head of the Tianyi Palace pointed his right index finger and a beam of light shot directly at Junlingzi's broken soul jade slip. Puff. The broken soul jade slip burst into a ball of fire. A steaming cloud was rising in spirals. It gushed out. In the cloud, the figure of a man was twisting. The man was suffering from the purgatory fire and was in great pain. He burst out a heart-wrenching scream. "I'm so miserable. I'm so miserable." It's senior brother Junlingzi. The remnant soul of junior brother Junlingzi. At this time, the head of the Tianyi Palace suddenly shouted. "Junlingzi, your remnant soul can only stay for a limited time. Tell me what happened to Xiaohan as soon as possible. I'm planning to take revenge." As soon as the remnant soul of Junlingzi heard Xiaohan's name, it immediately trembled with fear and wailed. "Xiaohan. Xiaohan. Awesome. To think that I would die at the hands of Xiaohan. Revenge? Sect Master, you must avenge me. I can't accept this. Cut the crap." The head of the Tianyi Palace flew into a rage and completely lost his manners. Because he had consumed too much celestial force just now, his face was as pale as a piece of paper and his breath was unstable. Yes. Xiaohan has the strength to instantly kill a level 6 true immortal. Furthermore, he has close to 1,000 slaves with the strength of a level 7 true immortal. Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's 4 treasures, the Cosmos Sack, Linglong Pagoda Emperor Slayer Saber, the Sky Demon clones, are all in Xiaohan's hands. Just as he finished speaking, Puchi, Junlingzi's soul dissipated just like that. Finally, the entire Tianyi Palace finally had a grasp of Xiaohan's strength. Silence. There was silence in the back mountain. For a mortal to be able to instantly kill a level 6 true immortal and have close to 1,000 level 7 true immortal subordinates, this was too terrifying. It was too abnormal. I didn't expect that there would be such a heaven-defying person in the human realm. The head of the Tianyi Palace mumbled as if he were dreaming. His eyes flickered with a sinister light. At this moment, the other immortal emperors standing next to the head of the Tianyi Palace finally spoke up. "Brother Tianyi, it seems that Xiaohan's secret is completely beyond our expectation. Close to 1,000 level 7 true immortals. This force is enough to form a medium sect in the immortal realm. Brother Tianyi, if you want to forcefully take down Xiaohan with the strength of the Tianyi Palace, I'm afraid you will suffer a great loss on both sides. Brother Tianyi, if you want to descend to the mortal realm, the energy you'll need is too terrifying. You'll need at least 10 medium immortal emperors to open a space-time tunnel for you. Moreover, you'll need some special immortal artifacts that can conceal your aura. Otherwise, as an immortal emperor, if you can't conceal your aura, the space will shatter and you'll be trapped in a space fragment. Even with your immortal emperor cultivation, you'll still die." Hearing this, the head of the Tianyi Palace's sinister eyes flickered, as if he was planning a sinister plot. After a while, the head of the Tianyi Palace said decisively, "This matter can only be handled by immortal emperors who descend to the mortal realm in person. Xiaohan not only has the treasures of the invincible saber, but also his own secret must be extraordinary. It's worth the risk. Let's immediately send out a message and contact the immortal emperors who are on good terms with us. We'll work together to open a space-time wormhole and find a way to descend to the mortal realm." Okay, let's contact more immortal emperors. In the mortal world. In the Yaoxiao Pagoda. Inside an extremely high-quality spirit chamber, Xiaohan was trying to break through the realm of genuine qi. Now, Xiaohan was going to break through the 71st true acupoint and enter the realm of genuine qi talisman formation. The realm of talisman formation was to combine the true talisman formation into some formations after transforming the true qi into talisman formation. In terms of the realm of genuine qi, if the realm before the realm of talisman formation was likened to a disbanded soldier, then once he entered the realm of talisman formation, he would train the disbanded soldier to become a master of steel. His combat capability would soar. Generally speaking, using the monster ranking list of this dimension as an example, the top geniuses could arrange true talisman formations in their bodies, increasing the attacking power of genuine qi by 10 times. Some of the monster ranking list geniuses from other mortal planes could arrange a dozen or dozens of formations, but it was difficult to break through 100. As for the current Xiaohan, humph. When a normal martial artist is in the talisman formation realm, 10 rounds of cleansing true talisman would probably cleanse dozens or hundreds of times, but I've cleansed true talisman 117000 times. It's totally incomparable. My natal talisman. The quality is very high. Now, I'm going to arrange the talisman formation. It was another earth-shattering scene. Okay, let's begin. Xiaohan accurately sensed the position of the 71st true acupoint in his body. In fact, with Xiaohan's temperament and accumulation, he could have broken through the 71st true acupoint a long time ago, but he had been holding back. Now he completely released the restraints. Breakthrough. At this moment, time seemed to have stopped. In Xiaohan's mind, a series of scenes flashed through his mind. The adventure of entering the second level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. In the qualifiers. Killing immortals like pigs and dogs. In the arena battle, he even killed all the elites of the immortals in the lower realm. In the purple trial world, he cultivated diligently. All the accumulation was definitely not what mortals could imagine. Even immortals might not have such accumulation as Xiaohan. Now, such accumulation turned into a torrent, directly attacking the position of the 71st true acupoint. Suddenly, there was silence everywhere. The entire Monster Hero Tower. It seemed to have quietened down. This silence was like the strange atmosphere before the outbreak of a disaster. There was no wind around. The surroundings were motionless. After just a dozen breaths, poof, it was like the light of the sun. From Xiaohan's body, it burst out unscrupulously. Then, there was a terrifying sound like the disintegration of thousands of planets, the roar of thousands of heavenly dragons, the annihilation of thousands of worlds, and the eruption of thousands of volcanoes. Boom! A huge light instantly enveloped the entire Monster Hero Tower, causing the sun to lose its color. There seemed to be only this kind of light left in the world. In this light, there seemed to be a god descending to the mortal world. This beam of light rushed up to the 9 heavens and then illuminated the entire plane. It caused the entire plane to be bathed in infinite divine light. In the vast universe, the other planes of the mortal world all saw this beam of light. This was a miracle. It caused the mortals of countless planes to bow down to Xiaohan's plane. Monster Hero Tower. Xiaohan's breakthrough to the true Qi realm has caused a phenomenon. Something big is going to happen. Crow lost his composure and roared. Something unprecedented is going to happen. In the secret chamber, Xiaohan finally used all the accumulation in his body to explode the 71st true acupoint. Under the dazzling light, all the true talismans in Xiaohan's body dispersed and reorganized, instantly setting up 18 arrays. This caused the quality of Xiaohan's true Qi to increase by 18 times. This was too terrifying. One had to know that in Xiaohan's plane, the best result in the talisman formation realm was to break through 10 true acupoints and set up 10 arrays, increasing the quality of true Qi by 10 times. But Xiaohan had only broken through 1 true acupoint and he had already set up 18 arrays. This was incredible. This way, the pure true Qi power in Xiaohan's body had reached hundreds of trillion cauldrons. Xiaohan's foundation in the acupoint expansion realm and talisman formation realm was extremely solid. Therefore, with a large base, the quality of his true Qi multiplied. The total strength of his true Qi would also be so great that it would make people crazy and collapse. Hundreds of trillion cauldrons of pure true Qi power, not bad. Xiaohan deeply felt the boundless terror of his own power. He slightly clenched his fist and a large area of space was destroyed. Now Xiaohan had an illusion that even if he only used the power of his true Qi without any other means, he could kill immortals and sweep through the world. Now my pure true Qi power, if it is converted to immortal force, Xiaohan began to calculate in his heart. One had to know that Xiaohan's true Qi power had increased by 18 times, reaching 324 trillion cauldrons. And the immortal force was measured in dragons. 10 trillion cauldrons of true Qi power was equivalent to 1 dragon of immortal force. 324 trillion cauldrons of true Qi power was equivalent to 32 dragons of immortal force. 32 dragons of immortal force, what kind of concept was that? True immortals were divided into 10 levels. Level 1 true immortals had 1 to 10 dragons of immortal force. Level 2 true immortals had 11 to 20 dragons of immortal force. Level 3 true immortals had 21 to 30 dragons of immortal force. Level 4 true immortals had 31 to 40 dragons of immortal force. Level 5 true immortals had 41 to 50 dragons of immortal force. Level 6 True Immortals 51 to 60 Dragons of Immortal Force. Level 7 True Immortals 61 to 70 Dragons of Immortal Force. Level 8 True Immortals had 71 to 80 Dragons of Immortal Force. Level 9 True Immortals had 81 to 90 Dragons of Immortal Force. Level 10 True Immortals had 91 to 100 Dragons of Immortal Force. Above Level 10 True Immortals were Immortal Emperors. In other words, Xiao Han's current pure true chi power was also at the level of a Level 4 True Immortal. Even though he did not have any immortal spells or divine abilities, it was still no small matter. Alright, continue to break through the 72nd True Acupoint. Xiao Han's heart was filled with ambition and confidence. The stronger I am, the more confidence I will have in fighting the various sects and immortal emperors. To be continued. Chapter 700. Xiao Han had just broken through the 71st acupoint and obtained a monstrous amount of true chi, which was comparable to the pure immortal force of a level 4 perfected immortal. After a brief moment of joy, Xiao Han broke through the acupoints again. In fact, with Xiao Han's lifetime of accumulation and fortuitous encounters, breaking through the acupoints was as easy as blowing off dust. The obstacles that ordinary mortals could not overcome were as easy as riding a horse across a flat plain for Xiao Han. Puff, 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 puff. The 72nd acupoint was broken through. The 73rd acupoint was broken through. The 74th acupoint was broken through. Xiao Han's acupoints were broken through again and again. He was completely unstoppable. In the process of Xiao Han breaking through to the next realm, rays of holy light continuously seeped out of the Yaoxia pagoda. They covered the sky and the earth and engulfed the entire plain, causing the entire plain to be bathed in golden light. Under this light, every inch of space in the huge plain was as warm as spring. The soil evolved into spiritual soil, the mountains evolved into sacred mountains, and the rivers evolved into divine rivers. In the plain, many mortals who were seriously ill, after bathing in this light, actually recovered without any treatment and were full of vigor. The martial artists of the plain actually broke through the bottleneck that they had been stuck in for a long time after bathing in this light. This was a true miracle. Xiao Han's breakthrough was a blessing to the entire plain. In the secret chamber of the Yaoxia pagoda, Xiao Han had broken through 80 acupoints and reached the peak of the talisman formation realm. Now Xiao Han was covered in talismans. They were spread out. A total of 100 array formations. No more, no less, 100 array formations. The quality of his true chi increased by 100 times. The 18 trillion cauldrons of true chi power evolved into 1,800 trillion cauldrons. Shocking the world. Shocking the world. 1,800 trillion cauldrons of pure true chi power, if converted to immortal force, would reach a shocking 180 dragons. Immortal force that surpassed a level 10 perfected immortal. This kind of result was simply an eternally strange story. Immortal's power surpassed a level 10 perfected immortal. If this was made known to others, even an immortal emperor would faint from fear. In the secret chamber, Xiao Han slowly stretched out his right palm. Ethereal true chi circled between his fingers. The quality of this true energy was frighteningly high. Even a strand of it could crush mountains and evaporate oceans. Even an immortal would be crushed by this true energy. They would definitely explode and die. There was no suspense. The power of my true chi is equivalent to 180 dragons of immortal power. You've brought me an unimaginable surprise. Xiao Han stared at his own palm. He was actually in a daze. For a moment he was in a trance, forgetting everything. After a long time, Xiao Han finally calmed down. Another breakthrough. Xiao Han understood very well. Increasing the power of my true energy isn't the only goal of this secluded meditation. The ultimate goal is immortal ascension. Breaking through to the immortal realm. No matter how strong his true chi was, he was still immortal. I must become an immortal so that I can open all the treasures that Invincible Saber Master left for me. Only by becoming an immortal can I find the special immortal herbs that can help the sect leader and the others recover their cultivation base. With a thought, Xiao Han's consciousness moved, and he immediately felt the location of the 81st acupoint with a bone-penetrating clarity. The 9th stage of true chi, the true treasure realm. After breaking through the acupoints 10 times, all the true chi in his body would be created into a true treasure. This realm mainly used true chi to transform into true chi magical treasures. the quality of the true chi would not increase by much. This was a realm with rich attacking methods. At this moment, Xiao Han held his breath, and once again activated his life potential to the extreme. All his thoughts and foundation gathered into a sharp stream of air. It went straight for the 81st acupoint. Puchi, it opened in response. For Xiao Han, breaking through to the true chi realm was indeed too easy. As the 81st acupoint was broken through, Xiao Han's true chi gushed out and began to twist and transform into a true chi magical treasure. What kind of true chi magical treasure will I transform into? Xiao Han was interested. However, in his heart he seemed to already have an answer. Not long after, Xiao Han's true chi transformed into a saber hilt that was almost made of wood. Just as I expected. I'm proficient in saber Dao. My natal true chi magical treasure should be a saber. A sharp saber evolved from extremely pure true chi. Good. Create my Xiao Han's natal true chi treasure. Xiao Han concentrated on breaking through the acupoints. Puchi, 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 the 82nd acupoint, the 83rd acupoint, and the 84th acupoint were broken through one after another. As the acupoints continued to be broken through, the true chi began to evolve at a faster speed, giving birth to a scabbard, a tassel, a handle, a shield, a blade. A saber was about to fully evolve. In the celestial realm. The Tianyi Palace. The Heavenly Palace. At this moment, a group of celestial emperors had gathered in the Heavenly Palace. More than a dozen giants of the celestial realm, celestial emperors, had already occupied the main hall. Like a dozen scorching suns floating in the air, each celestial emperor's chi and blood were unbelievably strong. When they opened and closed their eyes, there was a sense of chaos as if the world had just appeared. Brothers, today I have invited you to the Tianyi Palace. I believe everyone is clear about the matter we are discussing. The sect master of the Tianyi Palace swept his gaze across the crowd. Ha ha ha, a white-haired old man with wrinkled skin appeared. His skin was as lustrous as a gem, and circles of warm air flowed over his skin. This person was an old antique of the celestial realm, a middle-ranked celestial emperor. He controlled a world in the celestial realm, and had over 10,000 disciples under him. He was a person of virtue and prestige. His name was Old Ancestor North River. Old Ancestor North River laughed. Interesting, really interesting. I didn't expect us celestial emperors to gather for a meeting to discuss how to deal with a mortal. Oh, that's right, the previous meeting was so grand. I think it was to encircle and annihilate the bloodthirsty demon emperor's demon army, right? Old Ancestor North River, the sect master of the First Heaven School said. The sect master of the Tianyi Palace said with slight dissatisfaction. Although Xiao Han is immortal, his strength is not as simple as you think. I have already said that he has close to 1,000 level 7 true immortals under him. Alright, let's not quarrel. Don't let this matter affect our harmony. Another celestial emperor was also an old ancestor. He was dressed in a red robe and had a head full of red hair. Every breath he took was like an erupting volcano. Actually, this is a good thing. At least we know that Xiao Han has successfully obtained the inheritance of that absolute blade guy. This way we can target him. As long as we capture Xiao Han, we can smoothly obtain the absolute blade guy's treasure. On the contrary, if that mortal Xiao Han didn't obtain the absolute blade's treasure, then the absolute blade's treasure would most likely be destroyed. Wouldn't that be a reckless waste of resources? Now the treasure has appeared. We should be happy. Moreover, Xiao Han himself has many important secrets that we need to uncover. Yes. This is equivalent to giving us riches. Alright, let's treat this person seriously. But don't take him too seriously. We have to be careful. How can we not take down a mortal? Some celestial emperors also said. We don't have to descend for the time being. Now, let's join forces and see through the space barrier between the celestial realm and the mortal realm. Let's see what Xiao Han is doing in Xiao Han's dimension. Then, with our full strength, we can directly uproot Xiao Han's dimension and bring it to the celestial realm. And celestial emperor with a domineering gaze said loudly, I have a celestial weapon. As long as we join forces and input our celestial force, we can directly grab a space in the mortal realm. Then we can directly grab Xiao Han's dimension. Think about it. If we descend, we will be rejected by the space barrier and the laws of heaven and earth. Our strength will be greatly reduced. However, once we take Xiao Han's plane into the celestial realm, they will be rejected by the laws of the celestial realm as mortals, and we will have the home advantage. No matter how many divine abilities Xiao Han has, he will be captured. Good. This is a great plan. The group of celestial emperors nodded. Then, more than 10 celestial emperors released their celestial force at the same time. This huge amount of celestial force weaved together. Celestial hand. Suddenly, one of the celestial emperors took out a white jade-like palm. The meridians on the palm were vivid and engraved with countless mysterious runes. It had a power that could control everything, grasp everything, and crush everything. In the palm of the white jade-like palm there was a strange eye. With the help of the celestial emperor's celestial chi, the eye in the white jade-like palm suddenly opened. Celestial hand. Celestial eye. See through the boundless world. Xiao, a gaze shot directly from the celestial realm to the mortal realm. The mortal realm. The Yaoxia Pagoda. The spirit house. Boom, Xiao Han broke through the 90th true meridian with irresistible force. His true chi realm had reached the peak of the true treasure realm. A battle saber condensed from true chi was held in Xiao Han's hand. The entire body of the battle saber was flawless. It was as if it was submerged in divine brilliance. Xiao Han held the battle saber in his hand. He felt as if his soul had extended to the saber. It was as if the saber in his hand was a part of his body, a part of his thoughts. This was Xiao Han's natal true chi treasure. Xiao Han observed the Jin Chi battle blade for a while. Then, with a thought, the battle blade turned into thousands of rays of light and merged into Xiao Han's meridians. Yes, I completed the level 9 true treasure stage and condensed all the true chi in my body into a saber. However, the quality of my true chi didn't increase too much. It only doubled, which means that when I slashed out with my saber, I would have about 3,600 trillion cauldrons of pure true chi power. That's 360 immortal dragon power. Alright, let's continue breaking through. Xiao Han calmed himself down and began to break through to the next realm, Heaven's Eye State. The last gate of the true chi realm. The Heavenly Eye realm was the key to becoming an immortal. After opening all 100 acupoints in his body and opening the Heavenly Eye, he would have a chance to obtain immortal fate. A moment of enlightenment brought forth the immortal tribulation. Those who had opened the Heavenly Eye were also known as the Tower Master level in the secular world. For example, Wu Hao, Xiao Mingqiu, Fang Ling, and the others were at this level. Continue breaking through the meridians. Xiao Han gathered all of his life potential and accumulated power. His powerful soul and mind power also protected him from the side. Soon, pooh. The 91st acupoint opened in response to the sound. Not long after. Pooh. The 92nd acupoint was blasted open. Step by step, Xiao Han was walking in the direction of becoming an immortal. At this time, an almost illusory gaze shrouded Xiao Han from the celestial world. It covered the entire plane that Xiao Han was in. Every single thing that happened in this plane was seen by him. Chapter 701. Xiao Han breaking through to the true chi realm was a piece of cake. Opening the Heavenly Eye was as easy as flipping his hand. Cultivation relied on talent, accumulation, diligence, fortuitous encounters, and many other factors. Disregarding talent, Xiao Han's accumulation, diligence, and fortuitous encounters were simply unparalleled in these aspects. If the accumulation required for a mortal to become an immortal was compared to a pool of water, then Xiao Han's accumulation was a vast ocean. At this moment, Xiao Han used his enormous spiritual power as a guide, and his life potential and terrifying temperament as sharp weapons to break through his meridians. One by one, the true acupoints were broken through. Shockingly. Xiao Han felt a whirlpool surging between his eyebrows. A whirlpool that looked like a black hole actually appeared on Xiao Han's forehead. It was as if his eyebrows were about to be torn apart by some unknown force. When Xiao Han broke through the 98th true acupoint, a thin line split open between his eyebrows. Boom! A dazzling light shot out from this thin line like a monstrous wave. The entire plane was filled with colorful lights and multicolored mist swirled around. The shadows of all kinds of giant birds and auspicious beasts appeared like a mirage. The Yaoxia Pagoda was even more dazzling, as if thousands of bright moons were hanging in the sky, and thousands of blazing suns were rising. It was as if a deity had descended to the mortal world, shrouding the Yaoxia Pagoda. Inside the Yaoxia Pagoda. What a terrifying phenomenon. Wu Yunyu and the other mortals were completely shocked. Although they did not understand what exactly happened, they could vaguely guess. It's Xiao Han. All the phenomena originated from Xiao Han. Wu Yunyu said in horror. Such a terrifying phenomenon, it's even more dazzling than when we faced the immortal tribulation. Xiao Han. Xiao Han is becoming an immortal step by step. Although I don't know anything, if junior brother Xiao Han becomes an immortal, he will definitely reach the heavens in one step. He won't just become an immortal of the lowest level, he will definitely reach a very glorious level in one step. As to what level he will reach, I don't know, but he should not be weaker than brother Jialan and the other true immortals who descended. Xiao Mingchu also gasped. Yaoxia Pagoda. Spirit House. I Xiao Han have roamed the world, fought the demon race, fought the immortals and looked down on everyone. He had even received the teachings of the invincible saber master. So what if he became an immortal? Charge. Xiao Han's confidence had reached an unprecedented level. His life force had also reached its peak. Bang. The 99th acupoint opened. Bang. The 100th acupoint opened. Finally, Xiao Han had opened all 100 acupoints in his body. Very quickly, all of the true meridians in his body were opened. Xiao Han's body was like a cloud, extraordinary and refined. All of the true qi gathered at the center of his eyebrows and seeped into the thin crack between his eyebrows. Heavenly eye, open for me. Kailala, Kailala, the thin crack between Xiao Han's eyebrows gradually tore open. The sound of a space-time gate opening could be heard. The heavenly eye was about to open. Meanwhile, in the immortal world, the Tianyi Palace. Inside the palace, more than a dozen immortal emperors were working together to activate a powerful celestial artifact, a white jade-like palm. In the center of the palm there was a sky-piercing eye. This eyeball looked across space and could already see everything that was happening in Xiao Han's dimension. Naturally, these immortal emperors all saw the horrible vision in the Yaoxia Pagoda. Oh no! Xiao Han is going to open the heavenly eye and welcome the immortal tribulation. This vision. Mortals are ascending to become immortals. Although it's rare since ancient times, it's not completely non-existent. This vision is no ordinary ascension to become an immortal. According to my experience, once Xiao Han ascends, he will definitely surpass the level of a level 5 genuine immortal. This is incredible. How stunning. Such a nature-defying person will definitely be the #1 genius of the younger generation in the immortal world. He will surpass any young genuine immortal cultivated by a sect in the immortal world. Enough. Stop sighing. The sect leader of the Tianyi Palace roared impatiently. Now it's not time to praise Xiao Han but to suppress him. Let's do it. Before Xiao Han ascends, use the void-absorbing immortal hand to grab Xiao Han's realm. As soon as he said this, the immortal emperors stopped sighing and nodded their heads. Okay, there's no time to lose. Let's activate our celestial force. Well, the void-absorbing immortal hand usually takes a mortal's realm and places it in the most desolate area of the immortal world. These areas are short of spiritual qi and celestial qi, and the space there is naturally a maze. After we capture Xiao Han's realm, we throw it in the desolate area of the immortal world. They can't fly out, and they are bound by the dharma of the immortal world, which is tantamount to imprisoning their entire realm. We can do whatever we want to them. A sage-like immortal emperor sighed. Alas, such a nature-defying genius was destroyed by our own hands. Is this right or wrong? Ancestor Qingyang, stop sighing. Let's do it. Don't you want the invincible saber's wealth? Don't you want a share? Don't be so long-winded, pour your celestial force into the void-absorbing immortal hand. Okay, let's do it. The ancestor Qingyang also made up his mind. The next moment, swoosh, 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 these immortal emperors released their celestial force without hesitation and poured it into the jade-white palm. Boom. The jade-white palm was completely burned up. Then it released a great power that grasped time and space. This power could annihilate millions of worlds and create millions of worlds. The jade-white palm grabbed down through the air. The mortal world, Xiao Han's realm. The Yaoxia Tower. The Spirit House. Xiao Han's cultivation had entered the most critical stage. Open the heavenly eye. Once the heavenly eye was opened, with Xiao Han's foundation, he would definitely face the immortal tribulation. When the immortal tribulation came, Xiao Han could directly use the 100 Lives Saber Dao to resist the lightning attack and directly ascend. Everything was logical and logical. At this moment, Xiao Han's heavenly eye was already half opened. Success seemed to be close at hand. However, at this moment, Xiao Han's mind suddenly stopped. A sudden ominous feeling engulfed Xiao Han's heart. Moreover, this feeling was extremely real. Xiao Han's soul-mind power was very strong and more sensitive than many immortals. At this moment, Xiao Han could feel that a heavenly tribulation was indeed coming. What's going on? Xiao Han could not help but stop cultivating. He stood up suddenly and a hint of caution flashed across his eyes. Could it be that those animals from the immortal world are going to use some tricks again? At this moment, boom! The entire realm was instantly plunged into a kind of darkness. This was a kind of deep darkness. This was a kind of eternal darkness. In this kind of darkness there was no light. There was no heat. There was no wind. There was no flow of energy. There was no time. There was no space. Destruction. This was a feeling of destruction. The entire realm was in a kind of destruction. And the living beings on the realm did not have any time to feel fear or despair. They were only shocked, confused, and helpless in the secret mind room. What's going on? Xiao Han also felt a horrible suffocation, as if he had been thrown into a space that was isolated from the world. He found that his soul-mind power could not penetrate out, and his true chi could not be used. In a split second, Xiao Han forcibly restrained the discomfort of being restrained. With a thought, he formed a saber spell with his index and middle fingers and performed a saber technique. 100 generations. This was the most powerful attack in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's 100 generations saber technique. Boom! The saber light was like a meteor, in line with the heavenly Tao, containing the mysteries of the universe and the laws of nature. It flashed and cut through the deep darkness. Whoosh! This untraceable saber light directly cut open a gap in the eternal darkness. Light seeped in. The immortal world. In the main hall of the Tianyi Palace. More than 10 immortal emperors were working together to pour their immortal powers into that supreme treasure to grab Xiao Han's realm. At this moment, puff, puff. The two immortal emperors spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, Xiao Han is resisting. It's the saber technique of Zhu Dao. He's trying to break free by force. That's awesome. Even in this situation he's still struggling. Awesome, really awesome. Cut the crap. Do your best. The leader of the Tianyi Palace roared. Then, all his immortal powers were poured into the white jade palm without reservation. Xiao Han, in an extremely unfavorable situation, tried his best to perform a saber technique. But soon, the gap created by the saber light was swallowed up by the endless darkness. Oh no! Xiao Han's face was pale. He sat cross-legged and adjusted his breathing. Xiao Han, on his own, was absolutely unable to resist the supreme immortal artifact operated by more than 10 immortal emperors. Moreover, in this darkness, Xiao Han's soul was affected and suppressed, and he couldn't even release the immortal emperor slaves living on the solid spirit power planet. It's like, the whole realm is moving. Xiao Han had a vague idea. The immortal realm. The faces of the immortal emperors were completely pale, as if they were lamps that had run out of oil. The immortal powers flowing out of their bodies were getting weaker and weaker. On their foreheads, beads of sweat were actually seeping out. After dozens of breaths, we did it! The leader of the Tianyi Palace suddenly roared. Good. With all his might, he traversed space and time and finally uprooted Xiao Han's plane of existence, pulling it up from the mortal world. We threw it into the most desolate and bitter area of the immortal realm. We've finally succeeded. Now it's as good as imprisoning Xiao Han and the others in a secluded area. Well, when mortals come to the immortal realm because of the rejection of the law of heaven and earth, the mortals in Xiao Han's realm will definitely die one after another. When our energy is restored, we can directly go there and catch the dying Xiao Han. Ah, good. Let's also recuperate and try to recover the power we've consumed today as soon as possible. Chapter 702. Just when Xiao Han was about to completely open his heavenly eye and welcome the immortal tribulation, an inexplicable disaster happened. The entire plane was plunged into darkness and imprisonment. An unbelievably powerful force had forcefully dug the plane out and sent it to a faraway place. After a long while, the darkness finally dissipated. In fact, time had actually been frozen from the moment the plane fell into darkness until it became bright again. No one could sense the passage of time. The mortals in the plane had no sense at all. As for the martial artists, just when they felt a little confused and frightened, the darkness disappeared. In the spirit chamber of the Yaoxia Pagoda. What's this? Traces of light seeped in through the window. Xiao Han stood up. He was slightly confused. He reached out and grabbed some bits of sunlight. Everything has returned to normal. Xiao Han nodded slightly. However, he soon felt something strange. But something's not right. At this moment, Xiao Han's cultivation had been interrupted. A shallow crack appeared between his eyebrows. The heavenly eye had not been fully opened. It seemed that he had missed the opportunity to cultivate now. It would be difficult to continue after the interruption. Moreover, Xiao Han was not in the mood to cultivate in seclusion anymore. Xiao Han calmed himself down and rushed out of the psyche chamber. He went to look for Wu Yu and the others. Sect master, senior brothers, elders. Xiao Han rushed to the resting room where Wu Yu and the others were. At this moment, in the spacious resting room, Wu Yu and the other elites of the Cloud sect. There were also Xiao Han's wives. His son Xiaoan. There were also various ancient overlords and millennial overlords gathered together. There were hundreds of them. However, everyone had a confused look on their faces. They had no idea what had happened. Father, Xiaoan rushed over and jumped into Xiao Han's arms. It was so scary just now. Jing Yanxue and Xiao Han's wives also hurried over. They seemed to want to get some sense of security in the midst of the panic. It was a subconscious action. Xiao Han, could it be that the darkness of heaven and earth just now was caused by your cultivation? By the way, what's your cultivation level now? Have you opened your heavenly eye? Wu Yu asked hurriedly. Xiao Han shook his head and said, Everyone, I didn't trigger the phenomenon just now while I was cultivating. If I'm not mistaken, the celestial world is playing tricks on us again. Those fellows from the immortal world. If it wasn't for this sudden phenomenon, he would have died. I must have become an immortal. Damn it. How despicable, shameless, and unscrupulous. Is it someone from the immortal plane again? Many people grew furious. This is simply a ruthless extermination. But something doesn't seem right. Xiao Mingqiu frowned. I feel a little dizzy. Let's go out of the Monster Hero Pagoda to take a look. Xiao Han immediately said. I also feel that something is wrong, very wrong. However, at this moment, what's going on? What is this place? My God. Where have we arrived? What's going on? Before Xiao Han and the others could get out of the Yaoxia Pagoda, they heard cries of horror outside the Yaoxia Pagoda. The sound was earth-shattering, as if billions of living beings in the entire plane were crying and wailing at this moment. Let's go and take a look. Xiao Han did not dare to delay at all. He moved and rushed out. Outside the Yaoxia Pagoda, Xiao Han and the tens of thousands of Yaoxia were floating in the air. At this moment, their eyes were completely blank. This is really. Even Xiao Han, who was usually calm and composed, was dumbfounded. The world had changed. The world had completely changed. The entire plane was floating in the void like a piece of land. There were extremely strange scenes in all directions. Huge meteorites were floating in the air. Streams of colorful marsh gas floated in the air like ribbons. Pieces of ancient dead trees that were hundreds of thousands of feet tall were floating in the air. There were also some strange metal fragments that looked like gemstones that were dotted in the air. There were also some vines that had never been seen in Xiao Han's plane. They were tangled together, and some of the branches were even wrapped into a ball. Strange and dazzling. This was completely different from the area that Xiao Han had been in before. The plane was still the same. Xiao Han scanned it with his mind and found that nothing had changed. It was still the same layout of the east, south, west, north and south regions, the Great Wilderness and the Yaoxia region. The mountains were still the same, and the territories of the empires had not changed at all. In fact, none of the living beings in the plane suffered any damage from the incident just now. The only problem was, the plane had been moved. Hiss. Our plane seems to have been moved by some kind of supernatural power. Yes, moved to this place. Wu Li said in horror. Yes. We have never seen this scene before. Several elders, although their cultivation had been destroyed, still relied on some props to support their bodies and float in the air. They said in horror. I have a rough idea. Xiao Han seemed to be deep in thought. His soul and psyche ripples spread out. Soon Xiao Han's soul and psyche ripples swept out like a tidal wave, sweeping across the entire plane and out. Xiao Han's soul and mind rippled and began to spy on the void outside the plane. There were all kinds of strange scenes. Xiao Han's eyebrows slowly furrowed. At this time, the living beings in the plane felt that something was wrong. There was also sunlight shrouding the plane, bringing light. However, the sunlight at this moment was very hot, and the temperature was several times higher than the sunlight that the plane had received before. Under such strong sunlight, the sun was shining brightly. All the plants on the plane, they began to wither. All the animals had begun to show signs of dehydration and were on the verge of death. And countless ordinary people were also lying on the ground, sweating like rain. Their bodies were sore and weak. Not only that, there were some rays of radiation in the void. They shone directly on the plane. These rays of radiation penetrated into the air, causing the people on the plane to breathe more and more suffocating. The ecological environment here is completely incompatible with the world we originally lived in. What is this place? Fong Ling exclaimed. It's repulsion. We seem to have arrived at a new world that is completely different from the previous one. In this new world, the climate and the ecological environment are completely different. We can't adapt at all. Moreover, we're being repulsed by the laws of heaven and earth. It's like Wu Ling's expression was solemn. He adjusted his words. It's like we're outsiders. If we're not accepted by this new world, the living beings in our plane will be infected with an incurable disease. There's no cure for it and we'll die. Moreover, we can't cultivate here. An ancient giant nodded deeply. Finally, Xiaohan retracted his soul and mind. The void outside the plane, the laws of heaven and earth, and the spatial barriers, are more than 100 or even 1,000 times stronger than the mortal world. Moreover, there are scattered and impure fluctuations of immortal energy very weak. The space naturally forms a labyrinth. If we mortals take the risk and fly out, we'll be lost forever if we're lucky and we'll die if we're unlucky. If I'm not wrong, we've arrived at a certain area in the immortal world. What? We've arrived at the immortal world? Everyone was dumbstruck. Yes, it should be the immortal world. Here, we mortals can't cultivate and will be repulsed by the laws of heaven and earth. Our life force will flow away at an accelerated rate. Xiaohan was very serious. Despicable. Those fellows in the immortal world used some special methods to bring us from the mortal world to the immortal world. They wanted to use the laws of heaven and earth to force us to our deaths. What a despicable method. Yes, truly despicable. Yan Lang was also very resentful. Master, when immortals descend into the mortal world, they're restricted by the laws of heaven and earth. They can't unleash their full combat power, and their realms have to be suppressed. That's why they brought us to the immortal world and turned the battlefield into their home field. They're really despicable. Forget it. Since we're already here, let's just take things as they come. Xiaohan waved his hand. The next moment, Hong, his sea of consciousness lit up. A beam of light shot out from between Xiaohan's brows. Bai Shi had been summoned by Xiaohan. Greetings, Master. Bai Shi knelt on one knee. Bai Shi, get up. Take a look and see what this place is, Xiaohan said calmly. All right. This place. Bai Shi slowly stood up, and his expression suddenly changed. The immortal world. This is the immortal world. Yes, this is the barren area of the immortal world that the owner of the invincible blade told us about before. The barren area of the immortal world. Xiaohan and the others were at a loss. Yes, Bai Shi said with certainty. The barren area of the immortal world is the coldest place in the entire immortal world. The immortal qi here is extremely chaotic and it's filled with all kinds of harmful radiation. Usually, the barren area of the immortal world is used to exile criminals from the immortal world to the border. Once you're thrown into the barren area, you'll never be able to escape. You can only be tortured by the endless harmful radiation, and your immortal qi will be depleted and you'll die bit by bit. Without waiting for Xiaohan to reply, Bai Shi suddenly smiled. Master, you don't have to worry about anything now. The mortals in your realm are not used to the laws of heaven and earth here. However, we creatures from the alternate dimensions have energy that is comparable to immortal qi, especially the 100 level 7 creatures from the alternate dimensions. Our energy is comparable to that of a mid-level immortal emperor. Therefore, we can use our aura to integrate Master's realm into the laws of heaven and earth here. Xiaohan was shocked. Yes, Master. Ordinary perfected immortals will definitely die if they're sent here. However, immortal emperors are not affected by the harsh environment here. Bai Shi smiled confidently. Great. That's great. Xiaohan was overjoyed. Then Xiaohan released the 50 level 7 creatures from the alternate dimensions. from the first generation to the 50th generation. After arriving in the immortal world, these tyrannical beings did not have to worry about releasing their aura and shattering the barrier of space. This allowed them to release their aura at will. 50 mid-stage immortal emperors exuded a noble aura that enveloped this entire world, causing the sunlight to instantly weaken and the temperature to become as warm as spring. Not only that, it was also able to perfectly block out all the harmful radiation rays. The plain was immediately filled with vitality and vigor. The withered vegetation began to grow again. The mortals who were on the verge of suffocation also began to breathe normally again. They gradually began to adapt to the environment. It could be said that Xiao Han's realm was gradually integrating with the laws of heaven and earth of this new world. Phew. Not bad. Xiao Han nodded in satisfaction. Wu Alai and the others clicked their tongues in wonder. Alright, Bai Shi, it seems like all living beings in this realm are safe for the time being. Since we're already here, we might as well make the best of it. However, since this is our first time in the immortal world, there are still many things that we don't understand. Xiao Han said to Bai Shi. How about this, let's enter the lounge of the Yaoxiao Pagoda together. Tell me some of the basic information you know about the immortal world. Also, my true energy power has reached a very powerful level. Why don't you test it and see the difference between my true energy power and that of an immortal emperor's? Yes, master. Bai Shi nodded in agreement. The master and servant entered the Yaoxiao Pagoda together. To be continued? Chapter 703. The plane that Xiao Han was in was forcibly taken by those lowly immortals and thrown into the barren area where the immortal world sent criminals. Originally, when mortals arrived in the immortal world, if they did not pass the immortal tribulation and become immortals, their life and soul auras would be incompatible with the immortal world. Not only would they not be able to absorb the energy of the immortal world for cultivation, but they would also be rejected. Their vitality would be severely depleted day by day, and they would eventually die. The original intention of the sect master of the Chinese sect and the group of immortal emperors was to let the mortals in Xiao Han's plane be almost depleted. Then they would come and annihilate them in one fell swoop. The plan was flawless. However, they did not expect that the originally flawless plan would have a huge variable. This variable was, Xiao Han had 100 creatures from alternate dimensions whose strength was comparable to intermediate immortal emperors. The aura and energy released by these level 7 creatures from alternate dimensions made Xiao Han's plane perfectly fit into the immortal world. The rhythm of the entire plane synchronized with the immortal world. It even resonated. The sun was no longer so fierce and poisonous. Even the originally harmful radiation, after being diluted, was transformed into spiritual energy that nourished the earth, rocks, soil, and all living beings. All living beings in the plane had now walked out of the nightmarish discomfort. The world was brand new, full of vitality, making people feel refreshed and refreshed. Wulong and the other demon knights also let out a long sigh of relief. They even began to observe this new world with great interest. Inside the demon knight tower. Inside an elegant house of spirit. Xiao Han ordered a few pretty maids to brew a pot of top-grade tea. Then, with the 3 top-level, 7 creatures from alternate dimensions, Bai Shi, 99 and 98, they sat together. They began to discuss. Now, we must have reached the immortal world. Just as Bai Shi said. It is the most barren area in the immortal world, Xiao Han said solemnly. Although the plane is shrouded by your auras, there is no need to worry. However, those despicable immortal emperors may come up with another evil plan at any time. Now, we must be vigilant at all times and be prepared to defend. If possible, we should take the initiative to attack and destroy those immortal emperors. Xiao Han's expression also became a little cold and ruthless. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, I will kill them no matter how far away they are. Inadvertently, Xiao Han's current aura had some of the domineering aura of immortal Emperor Juodao, looking down on the world with disdain and invincibility. Because of this, Bai Shi and the other level 7 beings from alternate dimensions respected Xiao Han even more. Hundredth generation 9998, you will be the immortal realm that you know. Tell me everything, Xiao Han asked. Yes, master. He paused for a moment. Bai Shi pondered for a few breaths before speaking. Master, when we submitted to the master of the invincible blade, he had already fallen into a conspiracy. In the immortal realm he seemed to have been hunted down. After he was injured, he led us, the creatures from the alternate dimensions, into the mortal realm. After that, the vitality of the owner of the invincible blade declined day by day. In the end he died. At this point, the eyes of the creatures from alternate dimensions were slightly gloomy. It turns out that there was such a hidden reason behind Master's death. But don't worry. Wait until I become an immortal, enter the 4th level of Master's treasure, and receive the final inheritance. The truth will come to light then. At that time, I will take revenge on behalf of Master. Xiao Han made a decision in his heart. Then he said indifferently, "Continue." "Yes, Master. After all, we are creatures from alternate dimensions. Therefore, most of what we know about the immortal realm was told to us by the owner of the invincible blade." Baisher organized his words and said, "I understand. Then tell me about the level of immortal emperors. I roughly know that there are different levels of immortal emperors. They should be divided into low-level immortal emperors, mid-level immortal emperors, and top-level immortal emperors." Xiao Han said. "Yes." Baisher nodded. "Master, immortals are divided into true immortals and immortal emperors. True immortals are divided into level 1, level 2, level 3, all the way to level 10. The true immortals who entered the treasure to explore were all level 2 true immortals. In the immortal realm, they could only be said to be a group of existences with potential, but their actual combat strength was relatively low. The group of immortals who were killed by Master a while ago were level 6 and level 7 true immortals. In the immortal realm, they were considered the backbone of the true immortals and had some status. However, even top-level level 10 true immortals were vulnerable in front of the lowest-level immortal emperors. If mortals and immortals are two completely different levels of life structure, then true immortals and immortal emperors of any level are also two completely different levels of life structure. Baisher said. The gap between top-level mortals and true immortals is like the gap between top-level true immortals and immortal emperors. Of course, Master, you are not included in this list. Baisher added, if true immortals are small soldiers, then immortal emperors are commanders. Leaders. After hearing this, Xiao Han nodded repeatedly. I understand. Even the most powerful level 10 true immortals would be killed in an instant in front of the weakest low-level immortal emperors. Yes, Master. An immortal emperor's roar can swallow mountains and rivers. It can directly kill a large number of true immortals, Baisher said with a smile. Well, then I know that the pure power of the immortal world is measured in dragons, Xiao Han said thoughtfully. The pure immortal power of a level 1 true immortal has 1 to 10 dragons. The peak of a level 10 true immortal can reach 100 dragons, moving mountains and filling seas with a thought. How much can the pure immortal power of an immortal emperor reach? Xiao Han was extremely curious about the power of an immortal emperor. Moreover, Xiao Han also wanted to compare. After Xiao Han broke through to the true energy realm and opened 100 true acupoints in his body, his true energy had been condensed to an extreme. Now, the pure power of Xiao Han's true energy was equivalent to 400 dragons of immortal power. It completely defeated the peak of a level 10 true immortal. Moreover, when Xiao Han was fighting, he also had soul and spirit attacks, Baisher Saber Dao attacks, and even demonic power attacks. With so many methods, it almost did not lose out to ordinary immortal spells and divine abilities. For example, using the combination of powerful true energy and soul power to activate the sharp attack moves of Baisher Saber Dao. This made Xiao Han confident that he could kill a fully armed level 10 true immortal. However, the power of an immortal emperor. Xiao Han was indeed vague. Xiao Han was only clear about one thing. If there were 100 level 7 alternate dimension creatures and they completely released their auras, he would not be able to defeat any one of them no matter what. Moreover, he would be killed in an instant. In other words, Xiao Han was currently unable to defeat a mid-level immortal emperor. The strength of an immortal emperor. Baisher said truthfully. Master, immortal emperors have their own divine abilities and methods. Moreover, they all control terrifying immortal tools and magic treasures. Therefore, if we purely use strength to estimate the strength of an immortal emperor, it should not be too accurate. However, generally speaking, a low-level immortal emperor should control 500 to 1,500 dragons of power. A mid-level immortal emperor controls 1,500 to 3,000 dragons of power. As for a high-level immortal emperor, at this point, a look of fear appeared in Baisher's eyes. A look of fear flashed across his face. The strength of a high-level immortal emperor. About 10,000 dragons. What? 10,000 dragons? Xiao Han was shocked when he heard this. This is too frightening. Moreover, the difference in strength between a low-level immortal emperor and a mid-level immortal emperor is simply too big. If one were to judge purely based on strength, a high-level immortal emperor could kill a mid-level immortal emperor as easily as playing around. A high-level immortal emperor is too terrifying. Xiao Han could not help but take in a cold breath. Originally, after breaking through to the true Qi realm, Xiao Han controlled 400 dragons of power. At that time, Xiao Han was indeed a little proud of himself. However, Xiao Han now knew that this little bit of power, compared to an immortal emperor, was too childish. However, immortal emperors were at the top of the food chain in this universe. Moreover, there were not many immortal emperors. Xiao Han was a mere mortal and his battle strength was not comparable to a small group of people at the top of the universe. This was not too shameful. Hey master, don't be too nervous. A high-level immortal emperor is indeed terrifying. With a thought, they can cause the life and death of a star. However, in the entire immortal world, there are only a few high-level immortal emperors. Oh. Xiao Han regained his senses. Master, in the immortal world there is a ranking of immortal emperors. Bai Shi said with certainty. According to battle strength, the owner of the invincible blade was firmly ranked third in the immortal world. He was also a high-level immortal emperor. He controlled the power of 10,000 dragons and had absolute control over life and death. He was a universe overlord. After pausing for a moment, Bai Shi added. Master, among the immortal emperors the top 5 are all high-level immortal emperors. The owner of the invincible blade has already fallen. Now, among the high-level immortal emperors in the immortal world, there should only be 4. The number of mid-level immortal emperors is slightly more, but there should not be more than 50 of them. There should not be more than 200 low-level immortal emperors. At this point, Xiao Han had a complete understanding of the situation. He muttered to himself. Then, the sect leader of the heavenly sect that sent a true immortal to deal with us should be a high-level immortal emperor, right? After all, I know that the heavenly sect is known as the #1 sect in the immortal world. Heh, Bai Shi and the rest laughed. Master, the sect leader of the heavenly sect is called Patriarch Heavenly Sect, which means he is a mid-level immortal emperor. Bai Shi said with certainty. Other than the owner of the invincible blade, there are only 4 high-level immortal emperors. These people are all hidden experts and do not control any sections. I see. Xiao Han understood. Then Xiao Han glanced at his left arm from the corner of his eyes. At this moment, the left arm of the demon emperor had devoured countless immortal corpses and was crazily refining them. This caused the demonic energy in his left arm to rise steadily, reaching an extremely terrifying level. All kinds of demonic secret techniques were constantly being perfected and strengthened. Alright, you all can leave first. I need to consolidate my strength. Xiao Han stored Bai Shi and the rest back into the spiritual star in his sea of consciousness. Then Xiao Han sat down cross-legged. The enemies I have to face now are about a group of mid-level immortal emperors. However, I have 100 level 7 creatures from alternate dimensions, which can make me invincible. What I am most worried about now is those few high-level immortal emperors. If those high-level immortal emperors are provoked, I have no ability to resist at all. Even if I release 100 level 7 creatures from alternate dimensions, they will collapse in an instant. High-level immortal emperors are too strong. The power of 10,000 dragons can destroy everything. After a while, Xiao Han calmed down and completely immersed his soul into the palm of the demon emperor on his left arm. Cultivate. 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 Now Xiao Han was going to face everything that was about to happen in his strongest state. To be continued. Chapter 704. Xiao Han calmed himself down, sat cross-legged, and started to cultivate. This was a serious matter, so no one entered the Yaoxiao Pagoda to disturb Xiao Han. In terms of the realm of true Qi, Xiao Han had just arrived in the immortal world after leaving the mortal world, so he had yet to adapt to the immortal world perfectly. Therefore, even though he was on the verge of opening the third eye of the immortal world, he was temporarily unable to continue cultivating. He would not be able to become an immortal for the time being. Thus, he could not enter the 4th floor of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. However, Xiao Han could still cultivate his demonic power. Xiao Han discovered that the demonic monarch palm on his left arm could devour immortal corpses and immortal artifacts when he was dealing with Emperor Firmament and the other perfected immortals. During his adventure in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove, Xiao Han had accumulated a large number of immortal corpses. They piled up like a mountain. Now they were all thrown into the demon Thearcha's palm and refined. At this moment, inside Xiao Han's demonic the arch palm on his left arm, there was a rain of blood and a foul wind, forming a world of the demonic race. Dense demonic characters rose in spirals. The roars of demonic dragons could be heard. Back then, Xiao Han had already nurtured 40 dragon power, which was equivalent to an immortal's 40 dragon power. But now, the mountainous pile of immortal corpses was being dissected, refined, and absorbed, causing numerous dragon scales to appear, forming numerous demonic chi vortexes. One after another, lively and evil demonic dragons struggled out of these demonic chi vortexes. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws, roaring and howling non-stop. The dragon's body was wriggling non-stop. It was as though there were huge demon embryos within the bodies of these demon dragons. A boundless stench of blood emanated from the demon dragon's body. A peerless demonic aura gushed out from within. On the bodies of these demonic dragons, dragon serpent patterns and dragon scales appeared on the surface of the dragon's skin. They were all extremely evil. Primordial demonic dragons, primordial evil dragons, and primordial blood dragons. Their dark red scales oozed bright red blood. It seemed to be the blood of the demon world that made these primordial demonic dragons. He definitely had the bloodline of a high-ranking demon. More and more demonic dragons appeared in Xiao Han's demonic monarch palm. 50, 70, 100. With enough immortal corpses, demon dragons awakened one after another. Every time he created a demonic dragon, Xiao Han's demonic energy would increase slightly. Soon the entire Yaoxia pagoda was enveloped by a thick demonic aura. However, the living beings in the plain had long known that Xiao Han's body contained the secrets of the demon clan. Thus they were not surprised. Instead, they developed a sense of security and dependence on the demon chi. As for the 50-level, 7-dimensional creatures hovering in the air above the plain, he didn't care what his master was cultivating at all. Instead, they emitted a noble aura. It concealed the turbulent waves of demonic aura seeping out of the Yaoxia pagoda so that the demonic aura would not leak out and the people of the immortal world would not discover any clues. After a full 7 days and 7 nights, finally, the demonic aura surrounding the Yaoxia pagoda was completely restrained. In the Yaoxia pagoda, Xiao Han slowly stood up. With his body as the center, a gust of demonic wind blew outwards. His eyes flashed with a sinister light. However, the demonic wind and the demonic intent in his eyes were quickly suppressed by Xiao Han. He had returned to his previous harmless appearance, and his eyes were also incomparably clear. After 7 days and 7 nights, I finally devoured and refined all the immortal corpses and turned them into demonic energy. Xiao Han nodded to himself. Now, the demonic energy in my left arm is also 400 demonic dragons. Yes, the power of true chi is equivalent to 400 dragon immortal force, and the power of demonic dragons is also equivalent to 400 dragon immortal force. Moreover, after the increase in demonic energy, the various secret techniques and combat skills of the demon clan that I've mastered have also improved by leaps and bounds. They can't be mentioned in the same breath as before. Demon Saber of Annihilation, Illusory Movement, Black and Yellow Demon Pagoda, 1 Demon City, Heavenly Demon Immortal Slaughtering Technique, Heavenly Demon God Burning Technique. If I use the power of 400 demonic dragons, I can easily kill the top level, 10 perfected immortal. However, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for me to fight against a low-level immortal emperor. Xiao Han calculated the gains and losses while using his soul true chi to block the restless aura from the demon emperor's palm in his left arm. But strangely, ever since he arrived in the immortal realm, the will of the demon god's soul in Xiao Han's heart had become stronger and more evil, filled with bloodthirsty murderous intent. It seemed to want to take over Xiao Han's body and start a massacre. Xiao Han had to forcefully suppress it to overcome the influence of the demon god's soul on his mind. I understand. Xiao Han thought for a moment, then slowly nodded. Back then, the demon god wanted to mate with the egg of the cosmic behemoth to give birth to the most powerful species in the universe. However, the immortals worked together to seal it. The battle back then was so tragic that it must have almost destroyed the world, but the demon god failed in the end. Therefore, after arriving in the immortal realm, it seemed to have triggered the demon god's anger. The more Xiao Han thought about it, the more chills he felt down his spine. I must quickly destroy the demon god's soul and egg, or it's very likely that I'll be devoured. Xiao Han was a little nervous. However, as the spiritual leader of the entire realm, Xiao Han naturally could not show his nervousness, or it would cause chaos in the hearts of the people. Xiao Han collected his thoughts and left the Demon Hero Pagoda. Outside the Demon Hero Pagoda. Now the entire realm was sunny, the sun was shining brightly, the vegetation was lush and the flowers were blooming. In the city empire, it was bustling with people and carriages again. Xiao Han, you're out of seclusion. Wu Li and the others surrounded him. Junior brother Xiao Han, these subordinates of yours are really powerful. Xiao Mingchu looked at the 50-level, 7-dimensional creatures that were floating in the void like guardians with a palpitating gaze. Under the cover of the aura of these powerhouses, the situation of the realm is getting more and more prosperous day by day. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Some elite demon heroes who were patrolling all over the realm also returned to the demon hero domain to report the situation to Xiao Han. Leader Xiao Han. The realm is on the right track. The growth of crops. It's actually surpassed what we had in the mortal world. The output of crops is extremely heaven-defying. Leader Xiao Han. Now, some low-level martial artists can already resume cultivation. We demon heroes can also break through to the next realm. We probably have to open the heavenly eye and are still restricted by some laws of heaven and earth. However, after we completely adapt, we should not be rejected by the laws of heaven and earth in this new world. One by one good news came back from all directions. Xiao Han nodded and smiled. Then, Xiao Han gathered the core figures of the realm and entered the Demon Hero Pagoda for a meeting. Xiao Han's servant, Bai Shi, and other level 7-dimensional creatures also attended. Everyone, we were tricked by those treacherous immortals and ended up in the barren lands of the world of immortals from the mortal realm. However, those bastards made a mistake and didn't think we'd be able to escape danger. Now the plane is extremely stable and self-sufficient. After a period of time, it will be able to perfectly integrate with the heaven and earth of this immortal world. At that time, our life level will change and we will be reborn. Our mortal bodies will also gradually improve and may become the bodies of immortals. Yes, once this realm fused with the natural laws of the immortal world, then all living beings in this realm could ascend to the heavens in a single step. Even if they could not become true immortals, they would certainly live a long life and become ordinary immortals. And some elite demon heroes could break through and become true immortals. Everyone at the meeting nodded. Xiao Han continued. However, we can't just bide our time like this. It is very likely that those immortal emperors will take the initiative to attack. Therefore, I have made up my mind to leave this realm alone and leave this barren land. I will sneak into the prosperous immortal world to take a look. Those despicable immortal emperors are scheming against us, and I, Xiao Han, am not to be trifled with. Xiao Han, you entering the prosperous immortal world alone, I'm afraid? Wu Li said with slight worry. It's okay. Xiao Han waved his hand. Now my combat strength can completely defeat any level 10 true immortal, and I have 50 level 7-dimensional creatures with me that are comparable to mid-level immortal emperors. As long as those hidden high-level immortal emperors do not interfere, I will naturally go to this immortal world. Boundless domineeringness was revealed. Feeling Xiao Han's bearing and demeanor, everyone was convinced. The eyes of Xiao Han's wives overflowed with intense infatuation and love. Xiao Han was also proud of his father. After a pause, Xiao Han spoke again. Moreover, I must find a special immortal herb that can heal your injuries, sect leader. Finding a special immortal herb that could heal Wu Li and the others was something that could not be delayed. It should be known that, including Wu Li, there were at least dozens of people who could become immortals. If these people were cured, Xiao Han's mortal realm would have dozens of level 1 true immortals. This was also a big deal. Yes, I have also considered the safety of this realm. I will leave a large number of level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5 and level 6 dimensional creatures. There will be more than 10,000 of them, and all of them have the combat strength of a true immortal. Then, there will be 50 level 7-dimensional creatures to guard the realm. With this force, even dozens of mid-level immortal emperors will not be able to return. Xiao Han was very confident. Just like that, after the discussion, Xiao Han decided to leave this realm and enter the prosperous immortal world. The First Heaven Society. In the palace. Led by the leader of the First Heaven Society and Patriarch Tianyi, more than a dozen immortal emperors were sitting cross-legged, their bodies glowing with celestial light. Before this, they had joined forces to activate a celestial artifact, the void-absorbing celestial hand, and achieved a great success. However, it had consumed a lot of energy. Now they were all in seclusion using this elixir to recover their celestial strength. Everyone Xiao Han's entire realm is now imprisoned in the barren area. They are rejected by the laws of heaven and earth in the immortal world, and they will wither and die day by day. Now, I guess many ordinary mortals have died in this realm, right? A thin old man said with a smile. Even ordinary mortals who have cultivated will wither and die day by day, let alone ordinary mortals. This is the law of nature and it cannot be resisted. Yes. However, this cannot be delayed. When we have all recovered our celestial strength, I must immediately go to the barren area and capture Xiao Han, Patriarch Tiani said with a cold smile. In order to capture Xiao Han, we have used too many methods. However, it is worth it. That invincible blade guy's lifetime wealth will soon be divided by us. Ah. Yes. Everyone hurry up and recover. To be continued. Chapter 705. The Barren Land of the Immortal World, Ibdu. Xiao Han's realm. Xiao Han and Bai Shi were floating in the air, staring at the space outside the realm. Countless meteorites, stars and ancient withered trees were all floating in the air. Master, there are indeed many naturally formed labyrinths and traps in every inch of space in this barren area. However, with Master's mental strength, it's not a problem for you to avoid these mazes and traps. Besides, we can also open a path for Master, Bai Shi said with a smile. A mid-level immortal emperor was opening a path for Xiao Han. Leaving this barren land was not a problem at all. Heh, you guys don't need to protect me for now. Let me try by myself. If I can break free from this desolate area with my own strength, it will also be a form of training for my soul spirit. Xiao Han said with a smile. Xiao Han paused for a moment before continuing. However, after sneaking into the immortal world, I'll be easily exposed as a mortal. That's going to be difficult. This? Bai Shi was in a difficult position. That's right, Master. You want to sneak into the prosperous immortal world, but your life force and soul aura is that of a mortal. Won't that be too easy to find out? However, Xiao Han quickly broke into a smile. Ah, I got it. I have a demonic technique, the reincarnation technique. I can imitate all kinds of soul waves. I can pass off the fake as the real thing. That's right. Xiao Han thought of the uncanny demonic technique, the reincarnation technique. Back then, when Xiao Han's cultivation was not that strong, he was able to deal with level 2 true immortals like the Firmament Emperor. There were hundreds of level 2 true immortals. They searched for Xiao Han in the realm. However, Xiao Han managed to avoid them all. What Xiao Han was relying on was a strange demonic technique, the reincarnation technique. The reincarnation technique could change the aura of one's soul and imitate any frequency of soul waves. Back in the mortal world, a demon emperor had relied on this demonic technique to strut into a court in the human world and become an emperor for countless years. He even entered the Yaoxiao Pagoda to assassinate the pagoda master. Now, Xiao Han's demonic energy had reached 400 demonic dragons, causing the quality of this demonic art to increase dramatically. My reincarnation technique can now simulate the soul aura of an immortal. Xiao Han's eyes lit up and he couldn't help but laugh out loud. Ah, interesting, very interesting. Immortal disguise? I'm number 1. Ah, Master? Bai Shi looked at Xiao Han in confusion. The next moment, Xiao, a beam of demonic light suddenly shot out from Xiao Han's left demon emperor palm. Then something shocking happened. Xiao Han's appearance hadn't changed. However, his temperament had been completely reborn. The aura of a mortal body was now overflowing with the aura of an immortal. The aura of the Tao circulated, and it was obvious that he had the aura of an immortal. Hiss. Bai Shi was horrified. Master, TSK, although your appearance hasn't changed, you look like a completely different person compared to before. This temperament was completely different. The aura of a true immortal. Master, you actually managed to imitate the aura of a true immortal. Even I can't see through this disguise. It was too perfect, flawless. Of course. I've activated this demonic art with 400 demonic dragon strength. Ordinary immortal emperors won't be able to see through my disguise, Xiao Han said confidently. Then he smiled and said, Bai Shi, what level of true immortal aura do you think I have now? It's the aura of a level 2 true immortal. Bai Shi was very sure. Although I can perfectly imitate the aura of an immortal, I can't imitate a higher level true immortal. The lower the level, the more perfect it is, and it's not easy to be discovered. If I imitate the soul aura of a level 5 true immortal, I'll be seen through immediately. Xiao Han smiled. Then he casually found a white robe from the demon hero pagoda and put it on. With a shake of his body, he really looked like a cultured level 2 true immortal. Alright, now I can sneak into the prosperous area of the immortal realm. Xiao Han even found a folding fan and waved it slightly. He looked like a dandy young master in the immortal realm. This caused all the mortals on the plane to be dumbfounded. Before he left, Xiao Han ordered the creatures in the alternate dimensions to stay in the realm, as well as the 50 most powerful level 7 creatures in the alternate dimensions, to defend the realm with their lives. If anyone from the immortal realm came to invade, they were to be killed without mercy. They wouldn't be able to return. Xiao Han also told everyone, including his wife and son, about the feelings of parting. Then Xiao Han immediately set off and flew toward the end of the barren area. Xiao Han put Bai Shi back into his sea of consciousness and flew alone. His soul will radiated out recklessly, covering a large area. He avoided all kinds of mazes, natural traps and energy turbulence. Xiao Han's soul will was far more powerful than that of ordinary true immortals. Therefore, as long as he slowed down, he would be able to accurately avoid the space mazes and traps. Along the way, Xiao Han also observed the scenery of the barren area. It was indeed desolate. Harmful radiation could be seen everywhere. There were also meteorite fragments and even more substances that emitted poisonous gas. If Xiao Han didn't have such a powerful soul will to protect him, he would be in serious trouble if he accidentally fell into a maze that emitted poisonous gas. However, what shocked Xiao Han the most was that he found life fluctuations in some of the dilapidated cities. Upon closer inspection, he found that they were immortals. However, these immortals were extremely dispirited. Their immortal power was declining and some were even shackled and shackled. They wailed incessantly. "Help! Let us go! Let us go! I was banished here just because I was disrespectful to an immortal emperor. Help me!" It was miserable. However, Xiao Han didn't bother because the life fluctuations of these imprisoned immortals were already very weak. They were like candles in the wind that could be extinguished at any moment. Even if he saved these immortals, they wouldn't be able to return to their homeland. They would die in the various traps and radiation corrosion of the barren area. How pitiful! How pitiful! Dignified immortals. My almost eternal life is wasted here. Xiao Han shook his head and sighed. Then he continued on his way. The celestial realm is not a pure land. Like our mortal world, there are conflicts and intrigues. For example, the Channy Palace is known as the #1 sect in the celestial realm, but it treats me, a mortal, to do such a despicable thing. Xiao Han continued on his way. Along the way, Xiao Han did not encounter too many difficulties. It could be said that it was a smooth journey. Furthermore, he was constantly using his soul and mind power to scan the area. 10 days later, Xiao Han's soul spirit swept out. Finally, we're about to leave this desolate and bitter region. 1,000 li ahead was the city of the celestial world. I can already feel the fluctuation of immortal chi in that city. I'm afraid this is the first time since the beginning of time. After flying for a while, finally Xiao Han was about to reach the first city of the immortal world adjacent to this desolate region. Whoosh, whoosh, Xiao Han's divine will moved. He released Bai Shi and 87 Shi. "Oh, Master, are we about to enter the city of the immortal world?" Bai Shi glanced around. "Alright, Bai Shi, you should also suppress your cultivation now. Suppress your aura to that of a level 5 true immortal," Xiao Han ordered. 87 Shi, suppress your aura to that of a level 5 true immortal as well. Both of you will be my followers. Remember, your current name is Luozi. Xiao Han suddenly had an idea. He gave himself an immortal name, Luozi. It was named after the Luozi sect and the Luozi mountain range. "Okay, Master." Hehe, Luozi immortal. Both Bai Shi and 87 Shi laughed. Then they instantly suppressed their realm and aura. As expected, they only revealed the strength of a level 5 true immortal. Bai Shi had the image of an indifferent man. 87 Shi had the image of a gentle young married woman. Xiao Han, on the other hand, had the image of an elegant young man in white. Xiao Han had the aura of a level 2 true immortal, while Bai Shi and 87 Shi had the aura of a level 5 true immortal. When the three of them walked together, they really looked like a playboy from a wealthy family in the immortal world who was traveling with his two subordinates. Ha, let's go. Let's enter that town. Xiao Han said happily. After a pause he said to 87 Sure, let's go. Let's find the special immortal herb that can cure my sect master and the others first. Yes, master. 87 Sure smiled. Let's go. Let's go. Bai Shi was also very anxious and eager to go. Soon, the master and 2 servants flew to the small city of the immortal world. It was indeed a small city with only one main road and some forked alleys. However, although it was small, it had all the essentials. In this small city, there were all kinds of shops, residential areas, and the city lord's mansion. At this moment, Xiao Han truly felt the aura of the immortal world. The blue sky, the warm air, the abundant immortal aura. Xiao Han casually stood in the middle of the city, and his entire body felt comfortable. His limbs and bones were extremely relaxed. Comfortable, the environment of the immortal world is really comfortable. Xiao Han sighed. It didn't take long for Xiao Han to investigate the immortals in the city. It was just a small city, so there weren't many immortals coming and going. Moreover, most of them were level 1 true immortals, which was equivalent to ordinary people in the secular world. Only the aura of level 3 and level 4 true immortals could be sensed from the city lord's mansion. Bai Shi and 87 Shi, who were standing behind Xiao Han, had the aura of level 5 true immortals. As a result, Xiao Han's group of 3 attracted the attention of the immortals in the city. Xiao Han did not stay in this small city for long. He found an extremely quick-witted immortal citizen in the city, a level 1 true immortal, and asked him about it. As it turned out, this city was called Mountain City, and it was under the jurisdiction of a sect in the celestial world, the White Phoenix sect. The White Phoenix sect was a mid-level sect in the immortal world, and it controlled hundreds of cities of various sizes. The headquarters of the White Phoenix sect was located in the relatively prosperous White Phoenix City. Century 187. Let's go to White Phoenix City first. Xiao Han said with a smile. Yes, master. To be continued. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.